Oh, Jesus, Jesus, Jesus Christ. Oh, lordy, 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 lordy. Hello, everybody. Good morning. Good morning, everybody. Oh, yeah, we're up early. We are up early. Hello, everybody. Who are we? We are at war with Venezuela. We have invaded their nation and captured their president. Good morning, Venezuela. I hate being right. I absolutely hate being right all the time, man. Consistently and always fucking correct. Consistently and always fucking correct. Oh. I mean, Jesus Christ. Sweet baby fucking Jesus. I'm live on YouTube right now going over all the details regarding Trump's illegal invasion of Venezuela and kidnapping of the Venezuelan president Nicolas Maduro. I'm live on YouTube right now going over all the details regarding Trump's... How you doing, A. Marie? How are you? I can't fucking... I mean, I can believe it. I've been telling you this shit was gonna happen for months. I just can't believe that it happened while I was sleeping. Can't believe it. I'm live on YouTube. Those Epstein files must be bananas. It's not just that. Big fan, bro. Keep pushing and grinding. Keep a positive mindset. Never lose focus on your goals. Let no one stop you, not even haters. Just know I've been there and got your back. I appreciate that. I appreciate that a lot. Thank you very much. Yeah, gang, it looks like we're just, we're going to war. We're going to war again and 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 again. We're just always fucking going to war, brother. Never ends. Never ends. Thank you for the 10 Canadian dollars from your Canadian tax credit. You're going to go get yourself a bottle of Japanese whiskey. People aren't mad enough? Yeah, well, I'll tell you this much. Trump has already deployed CIA bots all over every social media platform in order to help manufacture consent. You are going to see off the rip, you're going to see millions of CIA bots saying like, oh, well, it was seamless and it was overnight operation. Everything went well, you know. Oh, jeez. We got some footage.
It's also report.
I hate this nation. I hate the United States of America so much.
Mierda, marico, se prendió el peo en esta mierda, ¿oyó? Marico, llegamos a tiempo a la casa, yo.
Marico, mira esa mierda.
The defense minister's daughter was killed in her sleep. You know, most bootlicking MAGA cucks are going to think that this is it. We went in, we did this, and that's it. GG, game over. That's not. I hope you understand that we just activated an entire nation's worth of people.
Ahí, graba ahí.
Espera.
Graba, marico.
No, me está jodiendo.
Marico, no puedo creer esta mierda.
Marico, me está jodiendo.
Marico, tengo el corazón mío.
Ya, marico.
Llama ya mismo.
Ah, bueno, puede ser.
¿Y pillaste? No, yo ahí al lado de Fort 21, güey.
Thank you for the 5 gifted memberships.
Pues llámame mamá. Vamos bien, Miche. Vamos bien.
Mira, mamá, güey, ¿cómo sigue preguntando? ¡Mamá, huevo! ¡Mamá, huevo! ¡Uf!
¡Ay, mamá, huevo!
Erga, se metieron los de la USA, papi. Los que tienen 14 años son más grandes que...
Ok, siguen las explosiones, se escuchan helicópteros, son las 1:58 de la mañana. Están atacando el fuerte Fiuna.
All right, I gotta start recording. We gotta start recording. All right, here we go. While you were sleeping, you know what? Let me restart this. The United States of America has officially invaded Venezuela and kidnapped the president of Venezuela, Nicolas Maduro. All of this is illegal. We have illegally invaded Venezuela. We bombed the mainland. We killed innocent civilians, and we captured their leader. All MAGA supporters will cheer with shit in their hands and clap like seals because they are literally inferior, subhuman. And they will celebrate any and all foreign wars, despite the fact that Donald Trump said that he was going to be a president of peace and that he was going to end all the wars on day one. We have officially invaded Venezuela. First, we're going to start off with Trump's post. The United States of America has successfully carried out a large-scale strike against Venezuela and its leader, President Nicolas Maduro, who has been, along with his wife, captured and flown out of the country. This operation was done in conjunction with U.S. law enforcement. Details to follow. There will be a news conference today at 11 o'clock a.m. at Mar-a-Lago. Thank you for your attention to this matter. In this bombing, we also, yes, we killed a bunch of civilians, but we also killed the Venezuelan defense minister's 24-year-old daughter in her sleep. We bombed her to smithereens, turned her into dust while she was sleeping, an innocent 24-year-old girl. We've got a bunch of footage here compiled by Midas Touch. Let's get a look. Everything you're watching, by the way, is illegal under U.S. and international law. Congress is moot. Congress no longer has power. You do not live in a democracy. You live in a dictatorship where we have a Christian theocratic fascist as our Führer. His name is Donald J. Trump. Please stop pretending that you live in a democracy where your elected representatives can prevent the Führer from waging a foreign war and sending your young family members to go fight and die in a foreign jungle. You do not live in a democracy. You live in an authoritarian dictatorship. This is non-negotiable. If you disagree with me, you are both wrong and inferior. We need the 25th Amendment invoked today. We need Donald Trump dragged out of the Oval Office, literally physically dragged out of the Oval Office, charged and thrown in prison for the rest of his fucking life.
Mamá huevo, qué locura. Mosca ahí. Mira esa mierda, explotaron allá toda esa mierda porque tú no estás explotando.
Mierda, marico, se prendió el peo en esta mierda, ¿oyó?
Huevo.
Trump wants the Nobel Peace Prize, right, guys? He's been begging for the Nobel Peace Prize, right, guys?
Marico, llegamos a tiempo a la casa, ¿oyó?
Marico, mira esa mierda.
Why has the United States Army done this? The United States military is now controlled by one individual man. Congress decided to vote down the War Resolutions Act, which essentially Congress gave up their power to declare war. It is now in the hands of the Führer only. So the Führer, Donald Trump, he can decide whether or not we as a nation go to war. And he has decided that because we are going to war with Iran, that we should also go to war with Venezuela. Please don't forget that the President of the United States is compromised through blackmail that was gathered by Jeffrey Epstein, who worked for Mossad. This compromising or compromat is videos of the President of the United States having sex with children. He is a sex trafficking pedophile. And Jeffrey Epstein gathered these videos from Mossad, or for Mossad. He also sold them to the Russians. And now Donald Trump is a complete baby-back bitch being blackmailed by the nation of Israel. Israel wants to bomb Iran again and do regime change in order to create the Greater Israel Project, where they conquer the entire Middle East. When Israel bombs Iran again, which will probably be in the next 2 or 3 days, Iran is going to annex the Strait of Hormuz and stranglehold the flow of oil coming out of the Middle East. Donald Trump and his fascist regime is aware of this, so they have decided to get themselves a secondary source of oil, that being the nation of Venezuela. So in preparation for the upcoming giant global war in the Middle East, we have begun a war with Venezuela to harvest their natural resources. By the way, I am always right. I've never been wrong. I'm right now. I've been right for 8 months. I told you this was coming, and it's coming. It's here now. What I'm telling you will happen. Israel will bomb Iran again. We will do it with them. I'm telling you this because I'm always correct. The leftist in your life is always correct. I don't know what to tell you other than just come back here when I'm right.
Ahí, graba ahí.
Espera.
No, me está jodiendo.
Marico, no puedo creer esta mierda.
Marico, me está jodiendo.
Marico, tengo el corazón pillado.
Ya, marico.
Llama ya mismo.
Ah, bueno, puede ser.
¿Y pillaste? Sí, ahí al lado de Fortuna, weón. Marico, se me quedó sin el puto teléfono. Pues llámame mamá. Vamos bien, Miche. Vamos bien.
Mira, mamá, huevo, ¿cómo se preguntando? ¡Mamá, huevo!
¡Mamá, huevo!
¡Uf!
¡Ay, mamá, huevo!
Erga, se metieron los de la USA, papi. Los que tienen 14 años son más grandes.
Ok, siguen las explosiones, se escuchan helicópteros, son
Can
las
Congress do
1:50.
anything? No, you don't live in a democracy. Congress can't do anything. You live in a dictatorship. The Fuhrer decided we're going to war, so we're going to war. Guys, please stop pretending that you live in a democracy. You do not live in a democracy. You live in a dictatorship. You do not get to make decisions.
58 de la mañana. Están atacando el fuerte Fiuna.
I got more for you. I got more for you.
Did not hear from President Trump today. We have not heard from him since New Year's Eve, but it is notable again that the president was talking about wanting peace. And last year, Chanley, the U.S. struck 7 different countries around the world. That does not include the dozens of strikes in the Caribbean, Eastern Pacific against those alleged drug boats. And we've been seeing this build up. And once these buildups happen, very rarely do they stand down. And we haven't seen any reports of U.S. military forces going home. We've seen a few flights return, but again, there's been this daily ramp up to this moment in time. But again, we did not hear.
Perhaps Iran, because if in the back and forth of the rhetoric, it was if the Iranian regime was trying to use in an asymmetric fashion a terrorist attack against the United States, and they were using their assets that they have in Venezuela, that could have been a trigger for this. If, say, the Venezuelans were preparing to attack U.S. forces, that could have been a preemptive strike against those forces as well. But
they're already coming up with excuses to claim that this was an act of self-defense. The United States military illegally bombed and invaded the nation of Venezuela. Our troops are still there murdering civilians. We captured their leader, and we have the audacity to claim that this is self-defense. Fox News is a terrorist organization.
The most interesting one, which also I think needs to be considered, is that it could be an internal or the cartels themselves trying to rise up to take out Maduro themselves.
Yes, this is a coup d'etat. I guarantee you we have already funded, financed, and armed the opposition, and they are involved.
Or internal, a military coup, much not unlike how Hugo Chavez first tried to come to power. So all of the above still in the cards. The only losers in the end of this, if the regime actually collapses, is the Chinese, the Russians, and the Iranians at the end of the day. And the Venezuelan people, I think, no matter what happens, I think they will have a better future free of this narco state that they've been living under for the last couple of decades.
Yeah, you just raised something really fascinating, a narco state. What if it is the cartels? Would a cartel puppet take over, or would how could that potentially play out if indeed this is from the cartels or an eternal coup?
I mean, yes, Maduro's been, in the last days.
There's no such thing as an internal coup in South America. All coups d'etats in South America are funded by the CIA.
For the second time, at least publicly, we know he's offered to sell out the cartels. He's offered to sell out the Russians and the Chinese to cut a deal to survive, to save his own neck with the United States, and President Trump hasn't bitten. So, he certainly is not making friends on his side. And I think that's a very distinct possibility that can't be ruled out. And if, in fact, the cartels are the ones, and they're able to put in a new power broker, what's going to have to happen is, just with all the pressure that's been brought to bear on the cartel networks because of the attacks on their transit and logistics, their ships at sea, they're going to need the help of the Russians, the Chinese, and the Iranians. And it'll be a really big question to see what we wake up to in the next few hours, what comes out of Moscow and Beijing and Tehran.
The Venezuelan government and critics have said, well, the U.S. is trying to take Venezuelan oil, but you see a lot more behind this than that.
Absolutely not. I even talked to friends from across the aisle and friends from the left who say that Venezuela actually is a bad actor. The Maduro regime in Venezuela is a bad actor. And it really does need to go.
Yeah, Venezuela's the bad actor, not the fucking foreign nation that just sent bombers and 15,000 troops and bombed the city.
So I think whether the Democrats want to admit it or not, they know that the Venezuelan regime needs to go. And don't forget this. The Cuban regime has a strong influence over Venezuela. And brushing back the Cuban regime is brushing back advances for totalitarianism.
Oh, so we're going to bomb Cuba as well? Why don't we bomb Colombia too?
For communism around the world. It's been a terrible act around the world. And this is a strong message to Cuba.
For communism. Dude, we're really just replaying the fucking 1960s. Red Scare propaganda. The spread of communism, the domino effect. We just have to bomb them, guys, because of communism. We have to bomb Caracas and kidnap the leader of Venezuela because of communism, guys. We have to.
As well, which probably also is very close to being toppled too.
That is really important and a great point in terms of Cuba with its expansionism and support of troops basically against U.S. interests and harboring terrorists and the like.
Oh, by the way, if you're young, welcome to 2003. If you're young and you weren't really sentient for the invasion of Iraq and Afghanistan, welcome to 2003, where the beginning of it was like seamless and everything went perfectly. And this is going to be easy, guys. This is going to be in and out real quick. We get their leader, we get their oil, we get out. Yeah, no, this ain't going to go well. This ain't going to go well. And I need you to understand, every single soldier who participates in this, I wish you the worst. The fact that you are not refusing this illegal order means you are a traitor to the United States of America, and I have no love lost for you if you get hurt in action. No love lost. You fucking pieces of shit. You are contractually obligated to refuse illegal orders. Any single attempt to attack Venezuela without congressional approval is an illegal order. I want every single fucking pilot, every single sailor, every single soldier, Marco Rubio, Donald Trump, the entire regime. I want you all in fucking Fort Leavenworth being fed gruel for the rest of your miserable existences. You are not men. You will not be thanked for your service. Any soldier who has the audacity to say, I served in Venezuela, I will spit in your fucking face. Fucking cowards.
Message tonight, do you think that they're receiving in Tehran and Moscow and Beijing?
You better watch out, because President Trump is serious. And I think that...
Oh, great. So now we're threatening war with China, Iran, and Russia. Listen to that again.
And what message tonight do you think that they're receiving in Tehran and Moscow and Beijing?
You better watch out, because President Trump is serious. And I think that, as we've seen with some of the actions and words around Tehran, that President Trump is the first president in quite a long time to make a difference in Iran, with his strong reaction to support of Israel, his strong reaction to the Iranian regime, increasing their efforts in enriching uranium and things like that. He bombed Tehran, of course, and bombed military sites there. President Trump is showing to the world, to the enemies of the United States and the enemies of the West, that he is serious.
No, he's showing to the entire world that he is a baby back bitch who is not willing to bomb any nation other than the ones who are not big enough to fight back. Donald Trump is also completely beholden to Israel. A big reason why he's doing this, we talked about this earlier, is because we are going to bomb Iran probably tomorrow or the next day. We are probably going to bomb Iran tomorrow or the next day because Israel demands us to. And if Donald Trump ever says no to Bibi Netanyahu, they release footage of Donald Trump fucking children, because this man right here is a pedophile.
And that he will take action when necessary.
Obviously, if you're watching this pre-recorded, this is breaking news. I mean, it happened early in the morning, and we're going to get a press conference at 11 o'clock.
What message tonight do you think that they're receiving?
Right now, they are bombing Caracas. Alert to the whole world, they have attacked Venezuela. They are bombing with missiles. The OAS and the UN must meet immediately. All right, so live updates. Let me click refresh, see if there's a new one. Yep. Updated 2 minutes ago. The U.S. captures Venezuelan leader, kidnaps Venezuelan leader. President Trump announced that the U.S. forces had carried out a large-scale attack strike against Venezuela and were flying President Nicolas Maduro and his wife out of the country. The Trump regime has been building pressure on Mr. Maduro for months. President Trump said on Saturday that the United States had kidnapped the Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro and was flying him out of Venezuela in what would be a stunning culmination to a months-long campaign by Mr. Trump's regime to oust the authoritarian leader. Mr. Trump made the announcement on Truth Social, his social media platform, and said the United States had carried out a large-scale strike against Venezuela in an operation that was conducted in conjunction with U.S. law enforcement. He said that Mr. Maduro's wife has also been captured. Oh, this is unfucking believable. This is unfucking believable. This is not the end of this, by the way, guys. I need you to understand that there's going to be retaliation. There's plenty of Venezuelans in the United States of America, and now, because of Donald Trump's illegal actions, we're probably going to have acts of terror pop up over the United States. Fucking cartels are going to be emboldened to commit acts of terror. Make America great again, right? Make America great again. Yippee! Yippee! Yay! Yay! Unfucking believable. All right. If you're live, you stay. We're going to keep on covering this. We're going to keep on getting updates. If you're watching this pre-recorded on YouTube, good morning. Welcome to war. Welcome to the Trump regime. Welcome to 2026. Welcome to the beginning of a global conflict. Please do not think that this has nothing to do with Iran. It has everything to do with Iran. I've been warning you that this would happen for about 8 months, and if you're now realizing that my predictions are incredibly accurate, incredibly well put together, please understand my next prediction. Israel will bomb Iran again in the next 7 days. We will join them in this bombing. Iran will retaliate by attempting a nuclear strike of Tel Aviv. Israel will shoot that nuclear missile out of the sky. Israel will then retaliate by attempting to nuclear strike Tehran. Israel will successfully hit Tehran with a nuclear weapon. The entire oil flow for the Middle East will be rendered obsolete after the Arab world unites and annexes the Strait of Hormuz. We are invading Venezuela to capture their oil and natural gas deposits, as well as the other minerals like gold and cobalt. This is because the minerals that we get from Ukraine and the Middle East are about to be fucking gone. Russia will take all of the Ukrainian resources, and Israel will either obliterate all of the resources in Iran, or Iran will simply annex the entire fucking strait. I am right. I am always right. And you will be back here when I am right again. Thank you very much. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell. If you're here live, you stay. We're going to keep on going. Do me one last favor if you're watching this pre-recorded. Click that video over there. It's a banger. And I'm always a banger. Oh, welcome to war. Welcome to war, fellas. Anybody excited for the nuclear war? Anybody excited for Israel to nuke Tehran? Oh. I'm never surprised. I knew this shit was coming. I told you this shit was coming a million times. I told you this shit was coming a million fucking times. All right, what is this? This is episode 343. It only took Trump 3 days in 2026 to start another foreign war. It only took him 3 days. It's a lot faster than I thought. You're going to stream during the press conference? I'm going to try. Today's the day I'm supposed to pick up Luigi from the hospital. Let's make a thumbnail. Nelson sent the link. Is this it? Great. Fantastic. Yippee. Yay. 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 Oh. Okay. I fucking can't believe this shit, dude. I mean, I can believe it. I fully expected this, but like every time it's never less of a surprise. All right, that's one. That's two. That's three. Oh, we're absolutely going to be on the wrong side of World War III. 100 fucking percent. The United... Hold on. Trump invaded Venezuela and kidnapped... let's make these capital. Trump invaded Venezuela and kidnapped Nicolas Maduro. We are in an illegal war. We are waging an illegal war for oil. Iran next. Iran is next. I told you. Hey, just real quick. Who here knew this was going to happen because I fucking told you this was going to happen? Who here knew this was going to happen because Valenti Videos told you this was going to happen? Anyone here? Anyone fucking here? Yup. Okay, give this a quick edit. Invaded Venezuela and kidnapped the president of Venezuela, Nicolas Maduro. Let's make an ad for it. Let's make an ad. You're not special, bro. Everyone knew. No, I am special. The only reason everybody knew is because leftists like me have been screaming for 8 months that we are going to war with Venezuela. The only reason you fucking people knew is because us here on the fucking alt-left have been screaming bloody murder about it, being called fucking fearmongers for 8 fucking months. So I was right. Every leftist you ever knew was right. We are right. Actually, let me start that again. So Trump illegally invaded Venezuela, murdered a bunch of civilians, including a 24-year-old girl, the daughter of their Secretary of Defense. Is that what he's called? Guys, what is he, a defense minister? What is he, a defense minister? Yeah, defense minister. Okay, hold on. So Trump illegally invaded Venezuela. We murdered a whole bunch of civilians. We bombed the ever-loving fuck out of Caracas. We even murdered the 24-year-old daughter of their defense minister in her sleep. All of this is because Donald Trump is a warmongering fascist who wants to capture the oil of Venezuela before Israel bombs Iran again. We will also bomb Iran again, and that will render most of the oil coming from the Middle East obsolete once Iran annexes the Strait of Hormuz. All of this ties back to the Epstein blackmail that was gathered on Donald Trump because he does terrible things to children. This is all gathered on Donald Trump, and because of that, he cannot say no to any of his foreign adversaries. Or they're not adversaries, they're his best friends. One more try, one more try, one more try. Hey, so Trump illegally invaded Venezuela. We bombed the ever-loving fuck out of Caracas. We murdered a whole bunch of civilians, including the 24-year-old daughter of the Venezuelan defense minister. Just murdered her in her sleep. We also captured Nicolas Maduro, the president of Venezuela. I'm sorry, we kidnapped Nicolas Maduro, the president of Venezuela. Our troops are still there. They haven't left yet. We're not going to leave. This is not just like about regime change. This is also about harvesting the natural resources of Venezuela, because Israel is about to attack Iran again, and we are going to join Israel in that attack. And Tehran, in response, Iran, they're going to annex the Strait of Hormuz and render the oil flow out of the Middle East as practically fucking obsolete. All of this is because leftists such as myself are right. We've always been right. We always will be right. We've been telling you that this was going to happen. And you bootlicking MAGA cuck said, oh no, he's a president of peace. He's going to end the wars on day one. He's not going to wage foreign wars. I want all of you to get on your hands and knees and eat my fucking asshole. When in reality, you're going to praise this. You're going to celebrate it because you love war. You're a bunch of fucking warmongering fascists. You believe that might is right. You think that the law of the jungle applies to geopolitics because you're genuinely inferior fucking beings. I mean that wholeheartedly. I don't think that any of you should have the same fucking rights as me. Anyway, I covered this entire thing on YouTube. We're going to keep on covering because there's breaking news. Trump is going to go live at 11 o'clock Eastern Standard and give us an update on this illegal foreign war that every single MAGA supporter is going to cheer for. I'll be live on YouTube. I'm live right now. Make sure you check it out. New YouTube video. I don't know what you want me to say other than I fucking told you, and I'm always fucking right. Put some more respect in my fucking name. We invaded Venezuela. I told you this would happen. Put some respect on my name moving forward. New YouTube video. Any bootlicking MAGA cucks in the chat yet? Any bootlicking MAGA cucks in the chat yet? Is there any of them yet? How likely do you think a draft is? 0%. Could the bootlicking MAGA cucks please tell me why you support a foreign war and regime change? I'd love to know. Could any of the bootlicking MAGA cucks please tell me why you support foreign war and regime change? Any of them? This wasn't a war. This is just a smackdown. Oh, you thought our troops left? You think this is the end of it? Wait. Did the bootlicking MAGA cucks actually think this is the end? We go in, we capture the leader, and nothing. There's no retaliation. There's no consequences. Is that actually what you guys think, or are you trolling? Is that actually what you think? Because my question to you is, like, is that what happened in Iraq and Afghanistan? Did we just, like, go in and we were out after the first attack? Is that what happened? Is that what happened? Is that what happened in Vietnam? These are what, one-day operations? There's no point in arguing geopolitics with MAGA supporters. They're all, I know that I use this word facetiously, but I'm not kidding. All MAGA supporters are subhuman, inferior vermin. They genuinely should not have the same rights as me. They should all be branded so that we know who they are. And then we can round them up, throw them in work camps, use them as slave labor. So happy you got your shout out from Kyle. Me too, man. Me too. Feckless Congress. Well, no, Congress gave up their power. 2 days ago, Congress gave up their power to declare war. They voted no on the War Times Resolution Act. So Congress no longer has the ability to wage war. That is solely in the hands of Donald Trump, the Fuhrer. As an Israeli, I don't really want total war with Iran, but if it makes the missile threat go away, I'll take it. You are the missile threat, Israeli. You are the threat. You have been bullying all of your neighbors. You have been never-endingly conquesting all of your surrounding nations. You commit genocides every single fucking year. You are the aggressor. The reason why Iran needs a nuclear weapon is because your shithole nation continues to bomb them regardless. And the only way to get the Western world to stop bombing you is to have a nuclear weapon. What's the punishment for dodging the draft? Prison. Thank you for the money. 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 $10. This just cements that we're going to war with Iran and we need new oil theory. 100%. 100%. For sure, yes, but it's a threat to our security. No, Iran is not a threat to your security. Your own fucking government is a threat to your security. Your dog shit Knesset and your fucking Bibi Netanyahu dictator has fomented more anti-Semitism across the planet because he loves anti-Semitism. It provides him with the out that he needs to create the Jewish ethno-state that he wants so fucking badly. Your nation is the aggressor. Iran does not fucking attack you unwarranted. You attack them and they defend themselves. That is what has always fucking happened. Iran is not a threat to Israel's existence. Israel is a threat to the world's existence. You fucking pieces of shit continue to bomb every nation around you. Chinese officials that went to Venezuela to meet with Maduro got caught in the crossfire. Are you fucking kidding me? Are you fucking kidding me? The danger isn't anti-Semitism currently. Ballistic missiles are. Oh, so should my nation go to war with Iran because your nation decided to start a fucking problem with Iran? Let me ask you something, Israeli. Should my young boys go fight and die because your young boys are too chicken shit to fight your own fucking battles? Is that what should be happening? Because you have an entire Hasidic population who refuses to serve despite the fact that in Israel you have mandatory service. You want my fucking boys to go fight your goddamn war for you? You fucking pieces of shit. Suck my fucking dick. You go to Tehran. You fight the fucking Iranians. It's your fucking problem, not mine. Unfucking believable. Unfucking believable. Why the fuck should I defend Israel? Tell me, why the fuck should I defend Israel? Please, tell me what reasoning I have to defend the dog shit nation of Israel. What's next for Venezuela? We're going to keep boots on the ground. We're going to occupy it the way that Israel occupies Gaza. Our troops are going to fucking die because the Venezuelans have 4 million militiamen who are going to be activated now that their president is kidnapped. It's unfucking believable. Unfucking believable. We're going to have our young boys fucking die in Venezuela because of oil. For oil. Sounds like Iraq. Yep. Welcome to Vietnam 2 Electric Boogaloo. Welcome to the Iraq War 2 Electric Boogaloo. Thanks for becoming a loyalist. I appreciate that. Let's see if there's any breaking news on this. Hold on. I wonder if CNN is live talking about it.
Special
NBC
forces. Often our Tier 1 special forces will operate in conjunction with many other agencies throughout the government, whether it's the CIA, as we may likely have seen in that initial potential
Yeah,
ground
let this
strike.
be a. Thank you for that $5. This is giving me an idea. It says, I've come to truly hate these maggot Shuttites. Please let this be a moment where you understand that if you do not actually despise the GOP and genuinely hate Republicans, genuinely fucking despise the Republican Party, you are not going far enough. You need to fucking despise these people. I'll get a copyright for that. But yeah, that was War Never Changes.
Law enforcement operators are familiar to our soldiers and sailors and law enforcement officials who were able to pull this off. So far, we haven't received any reports of U.S. casualties, which is an extraordinary thing, and we're really proud of our men and women who executed it. But it takes there's sort of several layers, and Courtney Kube referenced it a little bit just moments ago. Initially, you have to ensure that you have the ability to get our aircraft into the target area without being shot down. So we have to execute what we call the suppression of enemy air defenses. So that could be some of the early explosions that we saw.
On the bright side, if we are in the fallout timeline, that means some Palestinian with a backpack nuke is going to take out Tel Aviv. Isn't that what happened in Fallout? A Palestinian with a backpack nuke wiped out Tel Aviv. Isn't that literally what happens in Fallout?
Sort of the initial execution. The next thing we like to try and do is isolate. So once we've suppressed air defense, we then try to isolate the target area. In this case, apparently we somehow knew where Nicolas Maduro and his wife were. It's unclear whether that was because we had spoken with them. We don't know how we knew this, but somehow we knew where Maduro may well have been, and we isolated that area. That can be done, again, through remote capabilities.
And it will be done again.
With actual troops on the ground to provide what we call security.
So we're sending troops on the ground. Great. We're actually doing a boots-on-the-ground invasion. Fantastic. I love that. Yippee. Yay. More foreign war.
Or FBI at this point, we don't know. But after suppression of air defense, isolation of the objective area, finally we move in.
Were there any civilians killed? Yes. We know for a fact at least one civilian was killed. The 24-year-old daughter of the Venezuelan defense minister was murdered in her sleep, blown to fucking smithereens by American bombs. We do know that. There's definitely more civilians that were killed because we indiscriminately bombed them. We bombed civilian areas.
Way right now, but what sort of a challenge does this pose for the United States? This ultimately becomes less a military one, but more a diplomatic one to try to, allow that country to take the preferred fork in the road, not to return to a sort of authoritarian type
Jesus
regime.
Christ,
leader,
you're
but
such
to
a
focus on
fucking
more
bootlicking cuck, bro. Mainstream media is so fucking bought and paid for. This authoritarian regime, they took the wrong fork in the road. We were just putting them back on the right track. We're just invading their nation and forcing them to do the pro-America route. It's just another coup d'etat, guys. It's just another coup d'etat, guys. It's just another fucking foreign war. We're just sending the fucking CIA and our goddamn troops into another fucking foreign nation to harvest their fucking oil.
Execution happens very, very quickly. Now,
if you're not fucking disgusted, if you're not fucking enraged with these goddamn fascist alt-right motherfuckers waging another foreign war to send your son and your fucking daughter to fight and die in a foreign fucking jungle so that ExxonMobil can harvest their petroleum, then how dare you call yourself a fucking American? We do this decade after decade after decade, whether it be the Middle East, whether it be a fucking post-Soviet bloc era nation, whether it be a South American country. We go in and we put our boot on their fucking neck and we harvest them for their oil because we are the evil empire, because we are the colonizers, because we have always been the chief fucking villain on planet Earth. I just scared Beans so much he ran into his fucking gate. I gotta go move that. Sorry, Beans. Sorry, Beans. I am so unbelievably fucking disgusted with this goddamn shithole of a fucking nation. It's a fucking shithole. We're waging war on our own fucking people on the inside, and we're waging war with all of our fucking neighbors on the outside. Let it be known, I genuinely think every single person who supports Donald Trump is fucking subhuman. I think you should have less fucking rights than me.
Who's now been captured and taken out of the country alongside his wife, according to the president, by U.S. forces. I want to get to our chief foreign correspondent again, Richard Engel, who's been watching this news developing right now. Richard, among the questions that the president will surely be asked at a news conference to take place about 5 hours from now at Mar-a-Lago is whether he had any conversations with Maduro in recent days. Maduro told a Spanish journalist only a couple of days ago that he was open to, in effect, discussions, conversations, perhaps even
Impeachment isn't far enough, and impeachment won't do anything. We don't need him to be impeached. We need the 25th Amendment to be invoked. We need Donald Trump physically dragged out of the Oval Office by his fucking earlobe, kicking and screaming like the fat baby back bitch that he is. Throw him at Fort Leavenworth for the rest of his miserable fucking existence. Let him live behind fucking bars. Spoon feed him gruel, that fat fuck.
Remaining in effect, whether in power, certainly in its positions, though it's unclear who really is in power there.
I can't wait till I'm the fucking president and I publicize the voting records and we start rounding up and branding every single fucking vermin that voted for Donald Trump.
A degree of coordination, unclear with Maduro himself. Not full coordination with Maduro himself. If he wanted to, he could have fled the country. He could have gone to a friendly country. He has some good personal relations with the president of Turkey. He has decent relations with Russia. He's had good relations with Cuba or even Colombia. There are places where if he had wanted to go, he could have gone. So this clearly wasn't a surrender. This was a capture. And as we talked about earlier, this helicopter extraction was supported by a military operation, whether it was tomahawks or airstrikes or a combination of both. There was suppressive fire used to protect U.S. personnel during this extraction operation. Now, as you talked earlier about this may be the easy part. Of course, it's not easy. Only a few countries in the world, perhaps only the United States, has this kind of capability. But now, who is going to run the country? Was this President Trump's perhaps greatest military accomplishment? In a bloodless regime change operation against a illegitimate
bloodless regime
dictator
change. Bloodless. Meanwhile, we murdered a bunch of fucking civilians.
If there is a successful, quick democratic transition and the legitimate opposition, which won the last elections, which were then stolen from them, if they are able to come into power, work out a working relationship with the existing Venezuelan military, then this will be a great success. If, however, the military divides, a strong man, a new strong man who is potentially anti-United States.
Now, I'll tell you what's going to happen. This is a CIA coup d'etat. There's a woman named Maria Corina Machado. She's the hand-picked CIA plant. I'm telling you right now, come back here when I'm right. Maria Corina Machado. She's the hand-picked CIA plant. She's going to be the new leader of Venezuela within 100 hours of this operation.
Trump's interest, as he's made clear, was always the drugs, to stop the drug trade, and he's interested in Venezuela's oil. He's made that clear. Venezuela has enormous oil reserves. And he was critical when the United States went into Iraq that the United States didn't take the oil. Marco Rubio himself, coming up in Latin American politics, anti-Cuban platform, has an interest in regime change in Venezuela, which he hopes will then weaken an alliance of states that are anti-American in Latin America, including Cuba and Venezuela being the largest. You mentioned Miller, who has an immigration agenda, would want fewer migrants coming out of Venezuela, potentially Venezuela becoming a place where migrants can go. So this is a new day for Latin America.
Right.
And the U.S. military carried an operation. We're going to hear a lot about it, how successful it was, but This is a new day for the U.S. relations.
Wow, the
in Latin
CIA has
America,
really
with
deployed
President
a lot of
Trump
bots.
asserting dominance and going.
Hold on. Hey, by the way, the CIA immediately deployed fucking tens of thousands of pro-Venezuelan regime change bots. So expect in all of your comment sections where you're talking about how this is an illegal invasion of Venezuela, expect immediate support from random accounts that have no profile pictures, or it says like user 27891, whatever. The CIA has deployed tens of thousands of bots to attempt to manufacture consent for more military intervention. Friendly reminder, our troops in Venezuela have not left yet. They're not going to leave. This is now going to be our Gaza. We are going to colonize Venezuela and install an American operation so that we can harvest their natural resources. Our young boys are going to continue to fight and die in Venezuela because of the millions of militiamen that are going to resist this illegal occupation. All of this is for Donald Trump, and I need you to understand there will be no love lost for a single fucking U.S. soldier that gets harmed in Venezuela. You are all contractually obligated to refuse illegal orders, and you chose not to, so have fun. Oh. Oh. Oh.
Venezuela, the president and his team simultaneously have been focused on trying to bring about an end to the war between Russia and Ukraine. Vladimir Putin, for a variety of reasons over the course of many months, has been disinclined, it appears, to resolve the situation there. We have heard from Volodymyr Zelensky, who has also been very reluctant to give up land in that country, but this does infuse a new wrinkle into.
Somebody says you don't know shit, you would have
global-
dodged the draft. You mean like President Donald Trump dodged the draft despite the fact that he went to military high school? You mean like that?
This is why Richard Engel describes this as such a significant moment, is that what you have overnight is the U.S. striking.
Why is America allowed to do
Russian-
this? We're not. This is a violation of U.S. and international law. All of this is illegal.
Facto ally of President Putin, and President Trump has just taken him out. So you have that aspect, and on the other hand, you have President Putin now offering his diplomacy, if you like, to try to stabilize the situation. Effectively, you have President Putin saying, okay, we have a problem in your region, Mr. Trump. Let me help you to solve that. Sounds familiar, and it is therefore significant because it gives
Isn't
the
this
Russians
unconstitutional?
the
Yes.
ability.
Trump already, he has violated the Constitution numerous times. On day one, actually, of his second term, he violated the 14th Amendment, trying to get rid of birthright citizenship. Donald Trump actually wipes his ass with the Constitution. He hates you. He hates the American people. He despises poor people. All he's trying to do is create a Christian theocratic government, a fascist regime, so that he can just pass down the presidency to whoever he chooses.
Is that what you have here is very familiar, which is the U.S. intervening in another country to potentially bring about, you might even say, and the Trump administration isn't saying.
What
this
happened to No
clearly,
Stream? Well, we illegally invaded Venezuela, murdered a whole bunch of civilians, and kidnapped the president of Venezuela. So I think it's worthy of a live stream.
From the U.S., and Richard has been very carefully navigating those questions over whether it really works, and there is plenty of history to suggest that it does not, and then there are some examples of moments when it has made a difference, and all of this is happening while there are protests in Iran, effectively looking to overthrow.
Did someone die?
The regime
Oh yeah,
there.
bunch of people.
And those
all
protests
innocents.
are the most significant since some years ago, the uprising over the killing of a young woman in Iran. So there, too.
Friendly reminder that last night Trump also threatened to bomb Iran again. Israel said that the United States will bomb Iran again if they have ballistic missiles. Turns out Iran does have ballistic missiles, and we are going to go to war with Iran again. All MAGA chuds will support this because they are all inferior bootlicking cucks. They will always lick clean the boot on their fucking neck because they're genuinely subhuman.
Top national security officials who served beneath President Obama during his time in office. That's Ben Rhodes, who says in simple terms, he says, a regime change war in Latin America based on absurd rationales about drug trafficking, no explanation of goals, and counter to everything Trump promised, campaigning, and we're not even a full year into Trump's term. And see what the domestic criticism will be of the actions taking place. Richard Engel, quickly to you, there are still, even as we watch what appears to be a successful capture operation, there is still a lot of potential complications in the days, hours, days, and weeks ahead.
Huge complications. Doing a successful military extraction, like a successful counterterrorism strike, is something that President Trump will talk about. He will praise the bravery of the soldiers. He will talk about how it was carried out with great expertise and precision and coordination, and it seems that it was. But who will govern the country? How will it run? Will the people accept it? All very open questions. And I wanted to go back for a second to ask Keir a question, if I may, because we heard that statement. I heard it live on this conversation from the Kremlin. And one thing that struck me is it didn't seem to be that strong. I've heard the Kremlin, when it wants to condemn them, use much stronger terms. This described it as it's condemnable. It wasn't very, I don't want to say emphatic. Do you think in a way that this kind of operation, a regime change operation, which is what President Trump just did, could even help Vladimir Putin, could help him justify the war in Ukraine? It could help him reestablish what used to be called the sphere of influence world during the Cold War, where the United States controls its neighborhood and Russia dominated its pace. Could this actually help Putin? Is he secretly...
What the fuck?
Yeah, Richard, yeah, I think you ask a great question. And I think that, again, it's multi-layered. So on the one hand, yes, you can see in that statement from the Kremlin, from President Putin, that he is trying to position himself to be the diplomat, that it's not in many ways a full condemnation, although it does, as you say, use the word condemnable. There is that aspect. And on the other hand...
Somebody
Richard,
said in chat, Chris, do we keep pushing this or do we push the Epstein files? You push both. Don't let anyone... Guys, please stop saying that this is a distraction from the Epstein files. This is not a distraction from the Epstein files. This is a decision that we made because we know that the oil flow of the Middle East is about to be rendered obsolete. The Epstein files are an additional problem, but this is not a distraction.
President Assad of Syria falling. So historians may look back on this and see it as the slow weakening of Russia's power, despite the connection between President Trump and President Putin, the personal connection. This may be seen in the future as another brick in the wall, if you like, for Russia's global capability and global standing, but clearly President Putin is battling to overcome that view, and Putin will know, and let's just say that Putin has been in power for long enough to have been around for the invasion of Iraq and to have said that should not happen, the US invasion of Iraq. Putin will know that this is now unpredictable. And he is the master of tactics, and he will be waiting for the opportunity to take advantage of whatever takes place in the coming months.
Because as you mentioned, he may be trying to make lemonade out of lemons. He didn't issue a very strong condemnation, but as you say, he's lost an ally in Nicolas Maduro. He has lost...
Chatter said, can we
Syria
focus on the topic
entirely.
at hand? Epstein, no? Are you like actually mentally disabled? I'm asking you genuinely. This is not rhetorical. Are we being for real? No? Okay. Let's focus on the fact that the United States of America just illegally invaded a foreign nation, bombed their land, murdered their civilians, and captured their fucking leader. I'm pretty sure that's a important thing to talk about. Fucking idiot.
He can deal with at the moment, considering the hand of cards that he's holding.
Yeah, I think that's right, Richard. And I think too, and we've discussed this in the hours now that have played out since this strike took place. There's another piece to this too, isn't there? And that is about the idea that powers around the world have the power to intervene in their regions, in what Russia would describe as its near abroad.
We're going to launch another strike after this? Yeah. No, we're going to stay here for a couple of years. Our troops are not going to leave for a couple of years. We're going to have troops in there that are going to be murdered by militiamen, all because Donald Trump has illegally started an invasion of a foreign nation. We have to set up American oil operations. We have to create a good relationship with the new CIA plant, Maria Corina Machado. We have to, we have to wait. We have to stay there and allow our boys to die.
One other player around the world with ambitions that are not in America's interest, Kim Jong-un of North Korea.
I'm going to go fill up my coffee.
How will he be seeing this?
Don't get so triggered, Chris. No, I'm not triggered. I'm just tired of having to deal with actually mentally impaired fucking doofuses who don't think that this is a big deal. I'm going to go fill up my coffee. I'll be right back.
They may be saying, let's be careful, because the United States isn't messing around. But alternatively, they may also be saying, well, you're allowed to intervene in places next door to you because that's what America's doing, Peter.
Keir Simmons, our chief international correspondent, Richard Engel, our chief foreign correspondent. Gentlemen, stay with us right now. Again, I'm Peter Alexander, just after 6 o'clock on the East Coast, shortly after 7 a.m. in Venezuela. Those are pictures from earlier this morning. Before dawn, giant explosions, fiery explosions taking place in and around the capital city there. You can see the fire raining down on that city. The president, a short time ago, announcing that the United States has, in his words, successfully carried out a large-scale strike against Venezuela and its leader, President Nicolas Maduro, adding that Maduro has been, along with his wife, in the president's words, captured and flown out of the country. The president saying the operation was done in conjunction with U.S. law enforcement. He says there are more details to come, saying there will be a news conference that he will address the country.
Imagine our country,
at
who
roughly
is run by
11
Big Pharma,
this morning,
claiming
5
that
hours
another
from now,
nation is a
from
narco
his
state.
Mar-a-Lago estate. Clearly, the major headline here, the dramatic news, is that Nicolas Maduro, after a months-long pressure campaign by President Trump and his administration, has now been taken out of that country. It remains unclear if this was a negotiated exit. We are told by Republican Senator Mike Lee of Utah, who says he has spoken with Secretary of State Marco Rubio, that the explosions, the kinetic action, as he describes it, the military strikes there were done to protect the efforts on the ground to execute what the Republican senator says was an arrest warrant to pick up Maduro and ultimately his wife when they were taken out of the country. We have asked the White House and the Pentagon and frankly, the Justice Department for any better details about where Maduro is right now. But that capture operation that we have now learned about better explains why there were low-flying helicopters hovering on the ground in and around Caracas in the early morning hours today. We have spoken to one of our colleagues, a journalist on the ground in Venezuela, who was effectively stunned into silence when she heard this news. You could almost see her shaking during a live conversation we had here earlier. Richard Engel, again, is our chief foreign correspondent. Richard, as you look at this new picture, a live picture at what is roughly 7 o'clock in the morning in Caracas, Venezuela, it is clear that the situation has
How can you say this isn't a distraction from the files? Do you think that everything that Trump does that isn't the Epstein files is just a distraction? Do you think that Donald Trump said, why don't we illegally invade Venezuela, capture their fucking leader, and harvest their oil to distract the American people from the Epstein files? Is that actually what you think, you fucking moron? Is that genuinely what you think, you fucking idiot? Is that what you think? Yes or no? Is that what you fucking think, Mark? Yes or no? That we invaded Venezuela and kidnapped their fucking leader to distract from the Epstein files? No, answer the question. Stop saying it's calculated. Yes or no? Do you think that? Do not ban this guy. Yes or no? Is that what you think? Don't ban him. Is that what you think? Are we being serious? Holy fuck, dude.
That nothing would have been formalized if it still required his capture.
A bit, yes. You're a fucking idiot.
Of the president.
You're a
short
fucking
time
idiot.
From now, we have heard on the ground from members of that narco-terrorist regime, as the White House describes it, what was formerly the Maduro regime, asking for proof of life of Maduro, members of the military establishment.
Dude, I'm afraid that Trump is going to
to
do something really fucking crazy at 11. I'm afraid that Trump is going to do his press conference and they're literally going to walk Maduro out there. Guns to his fucking back, hands behind his back. Like, I'm not kidding. I think they're going to march him out there like a fucking prisoner. I'm not kidding, guys. I think they're going to march him out there like a prisoner, and I think that the proof of life of Maduro we're going to get is him bloody to a pulp, split lip, black eye with a fucking gun to his spine. I'm not kidding. I do think that at 11 o'clock we're going to see that. I'm not kidding at all.
It's bringing drugs to the United States. Our team is in the control room, keeping us honest on who we can speak to right now. Richard Engel has been joining us. Keir Simmons has been joining us as well. I want to get back to Courtney Kuby, who is covers the Pentagon for us and is an expert in all of these matters. Courtney, if you hear me right now, I want to get a better sense of what you're learning, about what more we may know about what went into this capture operation this morning under the veil of darkness. It happened quickly, it appears, in only a matter of hours' time before the first reports of explosions, and then us learning that Maduro himself had been captured only a couple of hours later.
Yeah, I mean, Peter, there's a few things about this operation that, frankly, are just confounding to me so far. And I'm hoping that we get more details, especially if we have this event with down at Mar-a-Lago with President Trump and potentially other Trump administration officials. Hopefully they'll take some questions and give us some actual detail, the real facts of what went on here. Some of the things that are surprising to me is the U.S. military would rarely carry out an operation like this on a night with a full moon or with a large moon. They like to do things, again, going back to things like the bin Laden raid or some of these well-known military operations in recent, they like to do it under the cover of as much darkness as possible. There's a pretty full moon out there, so that's a little surprising. I know that this sounds strange, but things like weather really do factor into the planning of these sorts of operations. So not just that. The tweet from Senator Mike Lee that you read a little bit earlier, where he talked about how Secretary of State and National Security Advisor Marco Rubio called him and explained that the president carried this out under his Article 2 authorities under the Constitution. Well, that is his executive authorities as president of the United States. And Senator Lee specifically saying that it was because it was to protect the American people. So it appears, based off of that tweet from Senator Lee, that in fact this is similar to the legal justification that the military has been using for the strikes against the drug boats, and that is that the drugs on those boats present a direct threat to the American people, and so for that reason there is a legal or a lawful
literally
reason
claiming self-defense.
to carry out.
The United States government's official claim is that we are bombing them out of self-defense.
Over recent weeks and months. The big difference here, though, is if they are using that same justification not only for carrying out these strikes inside of Caracas, inside of Venezuela, targeting what appear to be a lot of Venezuelan military locations, but also using that as the justification for potentially using the U.S. military to detain Nicolas Maduro and his wife. I mean, that is pretty astonishing. Those are the kinds of things that I'm really hoping to get more answers to. And then more than that, we are starting to see some detail about some of the locations that were struck by the U.S. military. Here again, they appear to.
So Trump is going to claim that this is an act of self-defense because Venezuela has weapons of mass destruction. He's going to claim that because last week Donald Trump signed an executive order that classifies fentanyl as a weapon of mass destruction. Now, no fentanyl comes to the United States from Venezuela, but that is directly antithetical to the CIA and the United States military's claims that fentanyl comes directly from Venezuela. So despite the fact that there is no fentanyl in Venezuela, Trump will claim that they have weapons of mass destruction. We are going to continue to send American troops. American troops will fight and will die in Venezuela. All of this will be defended by the bootlicking MAGA chuds because they are incapable of criticizing their cult leader.
Threats to the U.S. personnel who are on the ground there. Is that why they struck those locations? Or were there other strategic reasons for why they struck those locations? These are all the kinds of questions that we're hoping to get answers to. And then also, there's just the
Why am I
questions
seeing
that we've been
Venezuelan
talking about.
citizens dancing all over TikTok? Because the CIA has already deployed tens of thousands of bots as soon as these bombs dropped. They have to manufacture consent from more military intervention, so they activated their bot army.
Of being involved in drug trafficking, narco trafficking. We have heard from President Trump, Secretary of State Rubio, from others saying that he is the illegitimate leader here. But what was the real legal justification for doing this, and under what authorities did they do so? One thing that I'm really going to be asking about in the coming days, we have not been getting a whole lot of fidelity on military operations in recent months, but one thing I will really be asking about is under what authorities were the U.S. military there? So in other words, were they there under a Title 50 authority, meaning were they under U.S. intelligence umbrella when they were involved in these operations? These are all the kinds of wonky, I'll admit it, questions that we have right now, but that I think that will ultimately paint a real picture of exactly how long the planning has gone into this, what the justification was here, and then what ultimately the longer term goal may be for removing Nicolas Maduro from power.
Yeah, not wonky, but significant questions we're going to be asking the president, likely to be the first to face those questions in a matter of hours from now as he addresses reporters and the country, frankly, the world, at roughly 11 o'clock today. Courtney, again, to the points you were making about the actions that we have seen early this morning, the military strikes from the Republican Senator Mike Lee of Utah, who is our best source because he made it public, and he says he spoke to Marco Rubio. He said that the strikes we saw overnight were deployed to protect and defend those executing
Look at what
this
J.D. Vance just
arrest
posted.
warrant, as he says.
I'm assuming on Twitter. Let's see. The president offered multiple off-ramps, but was very clear throughout this process the drug trafficking must stop and the stolen oil must be... They've never stolen a single drop of oil from the United States of America. The stolen oil must be returned to the United States. Maduro is the newest person to find out that President Trump means what he says. Kudos to our brave special operations who pulled off a truly impressive operation. And PSA, everyone's saying this is illegal. Maduro has multiple indictments in the United States for narco-terrorism. You don't get to avoid drug trafficking in the U.S. because you live palace in Caracas. Donald Trump literally pardoned the former president of Honduras who trafficked more than 400 million pounds of cocaine into the United States of America. You absolutely can avoid charges for drug trafficking as long as you are beholden to the U.S. State Department, as long as you are a good boy.
Forces would have faced in this capture operation. And of course, what all would agree is good news is that at least at this point, it appears that there were no casualties on the U.S.
Donald Trump
side,
dodged the draft.
that we have learned about in the carrying out of.
Just so you know, Donald Trump went to military high school. I wonder if you've ever seen his photo. Donald Trump military photo. Yeah, Donald Trump went to military high school. He trained to go to war. When the Vietnam War broke out, he dodged the draft. He's a draft-dodging coward.
And these are really the world's most elite commandos, the Tier 1 Special Operations Forces out of the Joint Special Operations Command, often called JSOC. We don't know if this was Delta Force or SEAL Team 6, so we can refer to it simply as the Tier 1 Special Forces Operations. Exceptional mission supported by air defense suppression, special forces operators, and then, of course, some level of law enforcement who also participated in this arrest. So it's an exceptional mission, so many complications. Courtney Kube, our Pentagon correspondent, touched on some of the requirements to shape the battlefield ahead of penetrating into the target area with the forces that would actually conduct.
Dude, mainstream media is so
arrest.
fucking cooked. Even NBC is like, it was an incredible operation. It was extremely successful. Meanwhile, this entire fucking thing was illegal, and we murdered like 100 fucking civilians. Just completely illegal, violating U.S. and international law.
Reaction forces from moving in as the helicopters arrived. So my instinct is that many
No,
of
Congress
these
has not
strikes
approved this.
would have
Congress
been
no
the
longer has
ability-
that power. Congress voted no on the Wartime Resolution Act. So the Führer, Donald Trump, he can single-handedly declare war now.
Venezuelan forces to respond. So if there are Venezuelan quick reaction forces, they might well have been targeted. If there were Venezuelan police who could potentially respond, they might well have been targeted. So I think that's what we're looking at. Normally we suppress air defense. We isolate the target area, which is what I was just talking about, cut off any routes in that responders can use. Then we secure the area, so that's the most immediate area, the building or the car or wherever Maduro was at the time. That's that close-in security, just really a circle around that spot that we were trying to conduct the arrest, and then the exfiltration.
That's literal dictatorship. Colonel Warren, guys, the democracy died the day we elected Donald Trump for the second term after he tried to overthrow the United States government in 2021. It's been a dictatorship this entire time. If this doesn't open your eyes to the fact that democracy is dead and you live in an authoritarian dictatorship, nothing ever fucking will. You have a Führer. You do not have a president. You might have elected officials, but they do not have the power to stop this man. They have no power. Congress is moot. The House of Representatives is null, and the Supreme Court is bought.
Either one is possible.
You're not voting your way out.
Try to establish.
You're not voting your way out. You're not voting your way out of this. Accept reality. Smell the fucking roses.
Right? That would make sense. But I have to tell you, the way this operation was conducted, and given our history with the Venezuelans, my instinct is this was probably, as you described, really sort of a surprise whirlwind assault. If it were negotiated, there seems to be a lot of fire and flame and explosions for a negotiation to me. So I feel like this one, my instinct tells me that this one is probably much more of a surprise attack, a very precise shock attack or raid. Really, it's more doctrinally we'd call this a raid because you're just in and out. But I think that's probably what we're looking at here.
And it does raise real questions about if this was not a negotiated exit, how the U.S. knew exactly where Nicolas Maduro and in this case his wife were at the time, specifically where they were collected from, where they were picked up from. Again, among the questions that we're going to be asking, just 6:20 in the morning, and it feels like we are well into 2026. This is a storyline and an operation that is going to...
Chatter says, co-parter Chris, you do know that I'm more of a patriot than you, right? You do know that I love our soldiers more than you, right? Because I don't want them to go over to a foreign nation and fight and die in a fucking jungle to harvest oil for ExxonMobil. You do know that you are in full support of the very boot on your fucking neck. You literally are a bootlicking cuck. You cheer and clap with shit in your hands while our fucking boys go across the world to bomb foreign nations. You make $30,000 a year and you support the fucking military-industrial complex, dude. I make more money than your fucking dad.
On this right now, Julie, we know that news conference will take place at 11 o'clock this morning, a matter of hours from now. Pull back the curtain for us on what we have heard from the president and how we've sort of been building up to this moment.
Well, he's been building up to this moment, Peter, in the way that Richard and Keir and Courtney have laid out over the last 6 months, ramping up pressure, his cabinet ramping up military pressure in the seizure of those oil tankers. This week, a couple of days ago, we saw economic sanctions on that oil taking place by the administration, different boat seizures as well that we've been tracking closely, even during the holiday break. And just to peel back the curtain even further and put my Capitol Hill hat on, when I covered Marco Rubio as a senator. Venezuela was a top focus of his even then. He had often spoken out against Nicolas Maduro. He had been very present, tip of the spear on matters when he was a senator, when he was in Congress, trying to make sure that the U.S. had an aggressive policy and posture on rooting out the narco state, as he called it there in Venezuela, and then now transitioning to Secretary of State. When I talk to officials close to him and close to the administration, this has been a priority of his, not just the president's, but the Secretary of State's, since this administration, this second term, took shape earlier this year. And when you talk about Rubio, a couple of weeks ago, he was giving comments and remarks in his final press conference before the end of the year, and he was asked if there was a possibility of some kind of negotiation, a deal with Maduro to avoid this kind of action, perhaps on limiting the flow of drugs that we've seen the administration use as their excuse, as their cudgel to pursue this military action. And Rubio said even then that Maduro cannot be trusted, that he has fallen through and broken deals and promises in the past, and they cannot make that kind of agreement with him. And that brings us to, in many ways, this moment that we're seeing now. And when you heard from Courtney laying out what she called those wonky questions, what we have called the right questions, when you look at what Congress is going to be asking, the very basics of this is that Article 1 gives Congress...
By the way, MAGA, you are no longer allowed to pretend like Donald Trump is the president of peace, and you are no longer allowed to pretend like you are anti-war. If you support Donald Trump, you support foreign wars, foreign oil wars. It's as simple as that. And I know there's a bunch of MAGAs in the chat, so we're going to do a very simple question here. Please tell me, how about this? Here's the question. Do you support war with Venezuela? Yes or no? Simple question. Do you support war with Venezuela? Mostly no's. Are there any chatters who... Here, let me start a poll. Let me start a poll. There you go. Oh, did I end the poll? No, I didn't. Okay. I didn't end the poll, did I? Great.
Stuck in a building, so can't even tell. I guess it is now dawn in the United States. We've been covering this since the pre-dawn hours early this morning.
So
the criticism focuses on a variety of things.
I have questions for the people who said yes. If you said yes, can you please be brave and say me? Say me if you voted yes. Say me if you voted yes. At least try, pretend to be brave for a second. Please say me if you voted yes. Just pretend to be brave. Just for a second. Just pretend to be brave for a second. Is there not one of you who's willing to stand on business? Is there not a single one of you willing to stand on business and defend your Führer? Not one of you? You're all fucking cowards. There we go. We got one. It says Lookout Hills. All right, so Lookout Hills. You support war with Venezuela. Do you support foreign wars? Full stop. Do you support foreign wars? In general. Do you support foreign wars? Yeah? At least you guys are admitting that you're warmongers. So you guys lied about Trump being the president of peace? You guys lied about wanting the end of foreign wars? You guys lied about all that? You guys lied about all that? Yes? Copy that. Yeah. That's expected.
Here in New York with a dramatic developing situation taking place on the ground in Caracas, Venezuela. We have been watching the situation develop over the course of the last several hours, bringing you live coverage.
Can you talk about why the BRICS sanctions are going to ruin us? Yeah, sure. Well, there's over 1 billion people in the BRICS nations. There's over 1 billion people. And if all of those nations, specifically India, put sanctions, India and China put sanctions on America, it will further cripple our economy more than Trump's tariff war already has. The prices of goods in America has skyrocketed across every single sector of commerce, and this will only exacerbate the problem. So we are going to suffer economically because of this, and then Trump is going to retaliate to that economic suffering with even more military action. See, the right wing of this nation believes that might is right. They believe that we can murder our way to success, and they are incorrect. The United States is in its last leg of an empire. We are a collapsing and dying empire. This is irrefutable. Most empires last around 250 years, and we have lost more power throughout this first year of Trump's term than we have garnered in the past 60 years. Trump has actually he has destroyed all of our bonds of brotherhood with our allies. He has created relatively decent relationships with dictators such as Benjamin Netanyahu and Vladimir Putin and Viktor Orban. He's waging foreign illegal regime change oil wars. He is also blackmailed to the high heavens. He is completely compromised. There's videos of him having sex with children that were gathered by Jeffrey Epstein, and they are held in Mossad files and FSB files. So the United States is weaker than it has ever been in our history. And it is because 77 subhuman vermin voted for Donald Trump. 77 million of them.
Justice, as it were, in a U.S. court of law in the United States. Was this a negotiated exit? We do not know about that just yet as well. Maduro, only a matter of days ago, had told a Spanish journalist that he was open to conversations with the United States. The president himself has said publicly that the focus has been on ending the illegal flow of drugs from Venezuela into the U.S. The president says it's fentanyl. Experts in that region say most often Venezuela is responsible for the flow of cocaine, notably to Europe, but some of it gets to the United States, of course, as well. We are also trying to get new details about the operation that has taken place on the ground. But as we look at some of the video from earlier in the distance, you can see some of the glowing lights, the fiery explosions that had taken place. We know that there were low-flying helicopters reported by eyewitnesses on the ground as well that likely would have been needed to be a part of any operation of this kind. Not a kill operation like the one involving Osama bin Laden more than a decade ago.
Oh my God, they're already, dude, on NBC, they're comparing Maduro to Osama bin Laden. On NBC, dude, mainstream media is so fucking bought and paid for. It is just state-controlled media, whether it's CNN, Fox, NBC, it doesn't fucking matter. They're all playing the same notes. They're literally comparing him to Osama bin Laden. They're saying they have weapons of mass destruction. They're saying that we are there to install freedom and democracy and to save the Venezuelan people. This is just deja fucking vu. This is 2004, bro. This is 2004, except instead of teaching our boys Arabic, we're gonna teach them fucking Spanish, dude. Jesus fucking Christ.
On air for several hours now, Peter, when we heard these vague reports, still unconfirmed, of explosions in Caracas and in potential other areas, and then a key detail emerged: helicopters. Witnesses described helicopters on the ground, hovering, sounds of aircraft, explosions in multiple locations. As soon as you start hearing helicopters hovering, you get an indication that this is an extraction operation. You obviously can't land fixed-winged aircraft in the middle of a city. But who was the target? What happened? Who was carrying it out? And then a short while we were discussing all of these scenarios, President Trump himself, and by no accident, President Trump himself, the Pentagon has been silent. So up until now, this is something of a pattern where major announcements are made by President Trump personally on Truth Social. President Trump announced that it was Nicolas Maduro and his wife who had been captured, and that they will face justice. And thank you for your attention to this matter. Richard, the question that everyone is asking right now is, did the United States, did President Trump just carry out a successful regime change? Because regime change has just happened.
Oh my God.
And will this open the door to a democratic opposition, better economic relations, a weakening of an alliance backed by Cuban intelligence all across the region, a new Latin America where the U.S. has a much stronger hand? Or did tonight President Trump just send Venezuela into uncertain territory?
What do we got from CBS? CBS covering this live? I want to see how Fox covers this. Let's see how Fox covers this.
National territory, and as a result, the men and women of the armed forces are carrying out the instructions of President Nicolas Maduro, deploying all of our capabilities. We will win. Long live the homeland. End quote. What do you take from that? What does that say to you overall? Is this an escalation? What happens next?
Well, I don't think that it's an escalation in the sense that the Venezuelan military is going to try to retaliate against the United States, even with the capabilities in the region, because they just don't have that ability to really project that kind of power. If anything, it seems to be more a political statement to show defiance to what's occurred already, but that's just rhetorical. Behind the scenes, I think there probably is some kind of competition or jockeying for power, or may likely very well be, for who is now going to replace Nicolas Maduro. Will it be Delcy Rodriguez, the current vice president, who I believe isn't even physically in Venezuela right now? Will it be people from the Venezuelan military? Will they try to step into power to just assert control in the country, while there's perhaps a perception that the country is lawless without Maduro or even Rodriguez physically being there now? Will there be some attempt to bring in opposition leaders like Maria Machado and others, sort of waiting in the wings to have them be emplaced or installed as the next leader of Venezuela? These are all questions we don't know the answers to, but the statement that you just read off, I think, is more rhetorical than an indication of an actual
Trump is on Fox and Friends.
And of course, we do have this post. We've been reading it to you over the last, I would say, few minutes since it came in from
Fox and Friends Live. Let's see if we could find that.
Now there are real questions here about the impact this
We only
could
get
have
5 minutes
on
of a
Iran,
preview
that
pass.
is now seeing protests and disruptions in 70 of their cities that we have not seen since 2022. So my question to you is, do you think that this is a real warning to Iran? And do we expect the president perhaps to address that less than an hour from now?
I think so. And in the interview with Fox and Friends weekend, he definitely hinted at that. It has ripple effects all over the world. First of all, Iran is very active inside Venezuela. Hezbollah clearly is trafficked right into the middle of a lot of what we're seeing there on the ground. It has long been a source of concern for intelligence officials about Hezbollah's activity inside Venezuela. Russia, obviously, with its oil trade. China, with its influence in Latin America. All of that has ripple effects that potentially this affects. But Iran specifically, after dealing with protests on the ground in Tehran, very vigorous protests, where the president put out a Truth Social saying that the U.S. is locked and loaded should Iran start killing in earnest these protesters. I think that those words are kind of backed up by what he's been saying in recent weeks since the attack on the Iran nuclear facility. This is not popular inside MAGA world. It's not popular to be this forward-leaning to possibly the threat, you know, as it's talked about of having ground forces someplace in a long-time war. But that's not what the president's policy is. He's saying these surgical strikes, these
Brother, we're literally sending
actions.
ground forces right now. We're literally deploying 15,000 Marines as we speak. They're headed off the boats, invading Venezuela right now.
I got to say, one of the main questions I'm going to have at this press conference is about this transition. Did the administration have a conversation with opposition leadership in Venezuela?
Who, Maria Corina Machado?
This attack and this capture. Is there a plan in place to perhaps provide some sort of reinforcement for the opposition leader, Maria Machado, and to ensure that this isn't just left up to even a remote possibility that this government lands back in the hands of those who are sympathetic to Maduro? And
Friendly reminder, my name is Chris Valenti. You are watching the Valenti broadcast. I'm a dirtbag leftist. I've never had a conversation with an advertiser, a sponsor, a billionaire, or a government, so you can trust every word that comes out of my mouth is not bought and paid for. I will always tell you my true belief, and you never have to worry about it being from the mouth of some fucking big pharma executive or the military-industrial complex. If you do want to support this channel financially, because here on the left you are not rewarded by the algorithm, you are in fact punished for being a dissident of the regime. If you do want to support me financially, there's a couple of ways you could do it. You could buy merch like the posters behind me. I got mugs, we got hoodies, all located down below. You can click the thanks button down below to donate to me directly. Huge shout out to everybody who's ever done that. You can click the join button down below to become a member. You'll get access to member-only content and some member-only emojis. And then you can become a patron on Patreon. You can donate $1, $2, $5, whatever you want. You're going to get access to Patreon-only content. Other than that, if you don't want to support me financially, please click the like button, the subscribe button, and the notification bell. Those three things cost you nothing. They help me immensely combat against this alt-right algorithm.
City. It's the first thing I thought about. I know that there's a lot of comparison to Manny Noriega, the Panamanian dictator, and rightly so, but it'll be very fascinating to cover that here in Manhattan. Brett Baer, thank you so much. We'll see you in about an hour for coverage of that presidential news conference. Brett, thanks,
Brian.
Yep. My next guest is the only Cuban-born member of Congress. He's thanking President Trump for this action. Republican Congressman Carlos Jimenez from Florida sits on the Armed Services Committee.
Yeah, probably a billionaire. Probably.
Jimenez,
just so you know, when you find a Cuban who is in full support of South American regime change, it's because they come from a filthy rich family that was ousted by Castro. This guy, I guarantee you, his family fled Cuba after Castro started to redistribute the wealth.
Our feeling this morning.
I think Venezuelans in the United States are feeling great. They're thanking President Trump for his actions, and I'm personally thanking President Trump for his actions. And
there's nothing quite like Cuban war hawks, bro.
Not only Venezuelans, but also, as you know, there's a huge Cuban-American community here. Looking at the possible ramifications of this, ripple effects of this action on Cuba itself, and then Nicaragua too, a huge Nicaraguan community here. And so Miami is happy today. Now let's see where this goes. This is the first step, and then let's see where this goes. Hopefully.
Did you just say feeling great?
And
yes.
rightfully.
You got to understand, there's a whole lot of race traders down in Florida. These are like South Americans, people from Cuba, Colombia, Venezuela, people who fled their nations because they were the ones hoarding the wealth. They were the landowning millionaires keeping a boot on their own fucking people's neck. So they all fled South America once there was a rise in socialism throughout their nations. They came to the United States and they were used as CIA operatives. This guy, I guarantee you, he has worked alongside the CIA to help destroy his own fucking motherland because he's a traitor. He's a fucking traitor.
American. So this is a good day, and we're very happy here. And again, thank you, President Trump, for taking this action. It's long past due, and we're glad that you're the President of the United States and that you've taken the action that's necessary to protect, not only to restore democracy and freedom to the Venezuelan people, but to protect America's interests.
Maria Corina Machado, who is the opposition leader.
Told you.
What do you know? Do you know anything about whether or not she was briefed about this, knew about this, and do you know anything about whether or not there's any plans right now?
It's Operation 100 Hours. They're going to place her. Operation 100 Hours. They're going to place Maria Corina Machado in power within 100 hours.
I am not sure if she knew about this before. Again, a very fluid look. I think the number one overriding priority right now is that we don't want chaos in Venezuela. We don't want bloodshed in Venezuela.
Oh, look, we got a whole bunch of the bootlicking MAGA cucks in chat. So I know how you guys said that Donald Trump was the president of peace and that he wasn't going to wage any foreign wars. Are you guys excited to go fight and die in Venezuela? You literal bootlicking subhuman fucking vermin. Each and every one of you is responsible for this. And you dumb motherfuckers think it's already over. Meanwhile, our troops aren't leaving. Meanwhile, we're going to be there for the next year and a half installing a fucking pro-America oil lobby. And our young boys are going to have to be fucking fighting against militia members while we install a fucking pro-America oil lobby in a foreign nation, while you cheer and go, our president, the president of peace, he's a peaceful dog, he was gonna end the wars on day one, he ended 8 wars. Hey, bootlicking MAGA cuck, please tell me which war he fucking ended. Tell me one of the 8 wars he fucking ended, you inferior subhuman class of vermin.
And what is your message to your Democratic colleagues this morning who are calling this action overnight illegal?
Oh, I'm getting a phone call.
Well, I think, there isn't a leftist dictator that they won't stand by. This guy is a narco-terrorist responsible for the deaths of tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of Americans. He is a friend to our greatest adversaries around the world, Russia, China, North Korea, and Iran, and yet they're standing beside him. They think hands off Venezuela. Why? Because ideologically they're aligned. And so, what I say to them is that they're completely mistaken. The president was fully within his rights to do what he did. This was a police action. This was a legal action. Arresting somebody who was wanted by the United States, is under indictment by the United States, who was given opportunity to give himself up, but wouldn't. And so I applaud what the president of the United States did. And I'm frankly a little bit disappointed in my colleagues from the other side of the aisle that apparently all they care about is ideology, and they don't care about the freedom and the oppression and everything that's been going on in Venezuela. As long as he's a leftist, they're fine with that.
Well, we certainly know that your community in Miami, the Latino community right now, fully understands and is aware of the magnitude of this day, the fact that a dictator is no longer in power. Congressman Carlos Jimenez, we appreciate.
I got a little bit of good news, completely different, but Luigi is good for me to go pick her up. She's kind of walking a little bit. She's able to kind of walk a little bit, but I'm going to pick her up later at around 1 o'clock. I'm going to stay live to cover Trump's address to the nation on this, but at least Luigi's doing a little bit better, and I can pick her up around 1 o'clock, so that's good. That's some good news. That's some very good news.
Y está el pueblo organizado. Adelante.
¡Viva la patria! ¡Viva nuestro presidente Nicolás Maduro Moro!
From Mar-a-Lago, so we are waiting for that moment to know what's going to happen again. The next steps that's going to take.
And you were telling me how you're in touch with your family and friends in Venezuela. What are those conversations like? How are they feeling? What's the mood there?
They are like, with the expectation that's going to happen. Everything is inside home, taking care, praying, taking everything so slow because they are, like captured. So until we know what's going to happen.
Venezuelans right now live in a big fear. So they are happy, but they are with fear. They cannot express themselves, go out to the streets and celebrate because they can be killed.
What's an ideal situation? What do you hope happens in the next day, hour, few days?
We need more intervention with the United States, for sure. We need people from outside to help people inside, good people inside that can do what is needed to do, and also bring the real president of Venezuela, Edmundo, to the country.
Did you ever doubt that this was going to happen, or were you always kind of confident and hopeful?
I trust in President Trump. I knew that all that, movement in the Caribbean was not for free,
I mean, you brought up President Trump. Just politics-wise, it's been a whirlwind of craziness going on in the past year, especially we saw the elections here in Miami. What does this mean, just politics-wise?
Why are they at a gas station?
For Miami.
They're at a gas station because this entire war is being fought over oil. They're celebrating at the gas station. We're literally fighting this war for oil. The whole point is so that this gas station can potentially have cheaper gasoline. That's the entire point. It's for oil. And these bootlicking fucking MAGA vermin in my chat are going to cheer for it. The same way that they all cheered when we invaded Iraq and Afghanistan. The same way that they all cheered as we bombed Iran. There is no military action that a bootlicking MAGA cuck will not cheer for. They love war. They love bloodshed. They love violence. That's why they cheer for ICE. We're not talking about human beings. We're talking about a subhuman class of actual vermin. They're not human beings. You should not be treating MAGA voters as human beings.
And it's going to be also freedom for all those countries around us. So you'll have to keep praying and trusting in President Trump.
Thank you guys so much for speaking to us this morning. Well, you heard it there. A lot of excitement coming in from Doral. Just take a look behind me. People are celebrating, singing along, playing music, primarily from Venezuelan singers, from what I noticed. They also were singing a YMCA, a very popular song, of course, here in America. But of course, a lot of excitement here.
Let me start a new poll.
Of course, keep you updated as we continue to learn new details coming in from Maduro's capture. And of course, you can stay with us here on NBC6 to keep you updated with the latest. But for now, we're live in Doral. Christian Colon, NBC6 News. Thank you.
Here we go, new poll. There's your new poll. There's your new poll.
And flee the country, but largely still a very quiet morning in the city.
Okay, Mimi, just stay there one moment. I just want to bring you, just we should say as well, yeah, these pictures we've been keeping crossing Caracas over the last couple of hours. There are more people there, certainly over the last couple of hours, but still not huge numbers, as you were saying. Mimi, just want to get your thoughts on this. We've just heard from, on social media now, in the last few minutes, from US Speaker Mike Johnson. Just want to pull out a couple of this, saying today's military action was decisive and a justified operation that will protect American lives. Nicolas Maduro is responsible for the deaths of hundreds of thousands of Americans after years of trafficking illegal drugs and violent cartel members into our country. Crimes for which he's been properly
Chatter says, yo, man, I'm from Iran. How bad is this? And what should we expect in the next few days? Israel is going to bomb your nation within the next 7 days. We're going to join them. We're probably going to murder a bunch of your civilians. If I were you, I would avoid Tehran. And depending on how your government responds, if your government has in fact created the nuclear weapon that they so desire, they will attempt to nuke Tel Aviv. They will fail. Israel will shoot that missile out of the sky, and then Israel will successfully nuke you.
The deaths of hundreds of thousands of Americans after years of trafficking illegal drugs and violent cartel members into our country. Could you just talk us through what is meant by that?
So this is a line that the Trump administration has been pushing increasingly now, that Nicolas Maduro is not just involved in drug trafficking, but actually heads a cartel, Cartel de los Soles, which plays a key role in trafficking and organizing the movement of cocaine from Venezuela to the US. Now, Cartel de los Soles has military roots, according to those who believe it's true and actually exists to start with. The soles means suns, and the sun is a symbol of the Venezuelan military, kind of inferring the rank of the commanders or soldiers. Some say this cartel is completely made up. Others believe it has a forefront role in trafficking drugs, such as the US is saying. The truth seems to appear somewhat in the middle, but the Venezuelan government, Nicolas Maduro, has firmly repelled this statement, saying he has nothing to do with drug trafficking and this cartel is completely fabricated, again, with the US using this excuse to actually seek regime change, as well as access Venezuela's very large reserves of oil and other minerals. There is drug trafficking through Venezuela, and there is no doubt that some of the military has a foot in the door in some sense, but comparatively, compared to Colombia and Mexico, it has a very small part in this global trade. It's thought now that about 70% of the world's cocaine flows through Ecuador on the other side of the continent. So this can't all be put down to drug trafficking. And we know now that regime change and oil, we've just heard President Trump say that the US is going to have a large involvement in Venezuela's oil industry. Those are true motives which appear to be coming to light with more prevalence.
Mimi, thank you very much for that. We'll be chatting to you again later on. Thank you for that. Well, Vanessa Neumann is a former advisor to Venezuelan opposition leader Juan Guaido. She spoke to my colleague a little earlier.
Really, it's the restoration of democracy, because Maduro was due to have left the presidential palace on the 10th of January of 2025, having lost a 3-1 landslide in the elections, despite the rigging, despite the disqualification of Maria Corina Machado, then her next replacement, and then her stand-in, Edmundo Gonzalez, won because Venezuelans want out from under this tyranny. So what happens next in Venezuela is really on the heads of what the people of the Chavistas who remain, namely Delcy Rodriguez, Jorge Rodriguez, who's a sort of this chief strategist. Delcy Rodriguez is the chief financial officer, shall we say, of the regime. The head torturer and strategist is her brother Jorge, and Diosdado Cabello and Granco. And if those people leave peacefully, as they were supposed to have done in January of last year, we really should not have civilian casualties in Venezuela. Now, the longer they try to cling to power, and when the democratic forces of Venezuela have voted them out, then this will continue to escalate and get messier. So the deaths of Venezuelans is on the heads of the Maduro's enclave. It has not been forced by, it's not forced by violence. First of all, this was very much a capture operation, and it has played out exactly as I have said over at least my last 10 television interviews. They have taken out the command and control, the power to respond and attack United States forces without civilian casualties, or and doing everything possible to disrupt the illicit financial flows of illicit oil, narcotics, and to a lesser extent gold, and to respond. They have not attacked U.S. civilians, and
Oh, it's always war. America's always waging fucking war. We are the evil empire.
The United States hit Venezuela with a large-scale strike early Saturday and said its president, Nicolas Maduro, had been captured and flown out of the country. Here's what to know. Multiple explosions and low-flying aircraft were seen in Caracas in the early hours of Saturday morning. Maduro's government immediately accused the US of an imperialist attack on civilian and military installations. US President Donald Trump posted on Truth Social that Maduro had been, along with his wife, captured and flown out of the country. He added that the operation was done in conjunction with US law enforcement. The apparent attack itself lasted less than 30 minutes. Trump said in his social media post that the strike was carried out successfully. It comes after the Trump administration has escalated pressure on Maduro, who has decried US military operations against alleged
Dude, I
drug
love how there's actual MAGA chuds in this chat pretending like this isn't happening. Are you guys pretending like we didn't just invade Venezuela and bomb their land and murder their civilians and capture their fucking leader? Are you genuinely gonna pretend like we didn't do that when it's happening live? It's happening live. Unfucking believable.
Lo que sí tenemos, dueños de futuro. Ese dueño de futuro que nos quieren robar, nos lo convertiremos en su peor pesadilla. Gracias.
Gracias, compatriota. Bueno, esta es una tribuna antiimperialista. No nos vamos de aquí hasta que no veamos fe de vida a nuestro presidente Nicolás Maduro y nuestra primera combatiente Silvia Flores. Es tiempo de lealtades, compatriotas. Vamos a seguir con la palabra. Venga, compatriotas. Adelante. Ajá.
People are talking shit about you on TikTok? Yeah, because I told them this would happen and now it's happening and now they're fucking panicking.
Saludo ancestral de parte de los pueblos indígenas de Venezuela y de nuestro continente Abiyala. Desde este espacio queremos aprovechar para defender la autodeterminación de los pueblos. Los pueblos indígenas milenariamente, desde hace 500 años, sabemos que es ser saqueados, sabemos que es ser colonizados, estigmatizados y deshumanizados. Hoy aquí exigimos la fe de vida del compañero presidente Nicolás Maduro, el cual esta madrugada se desconoce su paradero y como pueblos indígenas defendemos la autonomía de nuestro Estado.
This is CBS News Special Report. I'm Carissa Lawson in New York. Let's go right to CBS News correspondent Natalie Brand. She's traveling with the president in West Palm Beach, Florida. And Natalie, what are we hearing from the Trump administration right now?
Well, as of this hour, sources are telling CBS News that Trump administration officials are aware of these reports of explosions and aircraft. No immediate response from the White House, but we've also
Bottoms up for Venezuela.
US officials that President Trump ordered strikes on sites inside Venezuela, including military facilities. This, of course, comes as the administration has escalated its campaign against the regime of Venezuelan President Nicolás Maduro, which the U.S. administration views as illegitimate. So right now, as you've seen on some initial video coming in, which we are still working to gather and confirm, several explosions were heard around 2 a.m. local time Saturday overnight in Venezuela's capital city, Caracas. People seen kind of rushing to the streets. And again, this is something that the president...
I wish somebody would do this to us. I wish some foreign nation would just fucking invade us and capture our dictator.
Himself had said was a possibility out loud, talking about potential land strikes. CBS News has also learned from sources that the president gave the U.S. military the green light to conduct land strikes in Venezuela days before the actual operation, waiting for conditions to be right there. Sources also say that military officials were even going to conduct the mission on Christmas, but U.S. airstrikes in Nigeria, as you may remember, against ISIS targets took precedence that day, according to the sources. So again, we are still working to confirm the latest, but Clarissa, as you know, this comes on top of months of a pressure campaign, which started back in September with those initial strikes that we saw on alleged drug boats off the coast of Venezuela. That has expanded now to a massive military buildup around Venezuela. a blockade of sanctioned oil tankers, a pressure campaign that's both military and also economic pressure.
As you said, this has been a slow and steady escalation. What is the president's goal in Venezuela at this time?
Regime change, oil harvesting.
He's been careful not to completely disclose that when asked directly by reporters. He won't talk about regime change, even though that's what a lot of lawmakers over on Capitol Hill say that they believe all signs point to. But President Trump, in interviews with reporters,
who's going to replace Maduro? A CIA plant named Maria Corina Machado.
That Maduro's days as president are numbered. The big question, of course, is what would happen next. And that's where even allies of the president on Capitol Hill, after they received briefings on Venezuela operations, they said that they had more questions for administration officials about the real strategy here and the end game.
Natalie
$5.
Brand,
I'm glad you're not joining the military.
What's happening in Venezuela right now. Now, CBS News correspondent Lilia Luciano is talking to sources in both Colombia and Venezuela. And Lilia, what is the reaction in these overnight hours to all of this?
Well, over the last few minutes or maybe an hour since I started seeing these reports, I started reaching out to sources in Venezuela. I heard from folks who confirmed that they heard one person who heard the loud bangs who said that their area, which is near one of these bases that was bombed, could hear the loud bang, that the skies were orange and that they lost power quite immediately. There were people, of course, were expecting that something could happen, but they have been waiting for many weeks. So, of course, now when it does happen, they are on high alert. I have also heard I reached out from when I covered the election last week to people who are supportive or allies.
How dumb do Americans have to be to support this? Well, listen, Trump's supporters are all mentally disabled. There's no debating that. If you're capable of supporting Trump, you're either mentally disabled or blatantly cruel. So they're going to support it no matter what. They're in a cult. They're not allowed to disagree with the Fuhrer. So we are talking about mentally disabled people, so I fully expect them to do whatever the regime tells them to do.
He is neither an enemy of Venezuela or of the United States, and is placing Colombia in a way in between both countries and offering the possibility of entering or allowing or facilitating negotiations. And Maduro has now, or the government of Venezuela, has also issued a statement in the last several minutes calling this a flagrant violation of the Charter of the United Nations. I am hoping to hear a little bit more about more reactions from Venezuela, but of course this happened at 2 a.m. local time, and people are sharing what they can on social media. It seems like the strikes are primarily at airports.
Pam Bondi. All right, Pam Bondi posted this 3 hours ago. Nicolas Maduro and his wife Celia Flores have been indicted in the Southern District of New York. Nicolas Maduro has been charged with narco-terrorism conspiracy, cocaine importation conspiracy, possession of machine guns and destructive devices, and conspiracy to possess machine guns and destructive devices against the United States. They will soon face the full wrath of American justice on American soil and American courts. On behalf of the entire U.S. Department of Justice, I would like to thank President Trump for having the courage to demand accountability on behalf of the American people. And a huge thank you to our brave military who conducted the incredible and highly successful mission to capture these two alleged international narco traffickers.
Military bases, and we're hoping to hear more from our government and.
Are any of those real charges? I mean, I'm sure that they brought real charges against him, yeah, but it's still illegal to fucking kidnap him and extradite him to the U.S.
To military sources too for confirmation, but we'll continue making calls.
Sure, and it's probably too early to tell if there's been any casualties in all of this as well. Lilia Luciano, thank you so much for that information. Well, to recap, the U.S. attacked military facilities in Caracas, Venezuela's capital. Multiple explosions were heard around 2 a.m. local time, marking America's first military attack inside Venezuela. Our coverage will continue on CBS News 24/7, your local news, and on CBS Saturday morning. This has been a CBS News special report. I'm Carissa Lawson in New York.
All right, so he's going to be live soon. Let me go to the White House. Let me go to the whitehouse.gov, see if they've got it. Oh my God, ew. Oh wait, no, live news. Oh Lord. Oh Lord, 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 Lord. You guys excited for another foreign war? You guys excited for more American troops to fight and die in the never-ending oil harvesting that our nation conducts? Yay! No, we're not recording yet. You guys excited? All right, let's do a poll. Will Trump bring out Maduro during his press conference? Here's your new poll. There's your new poll. No way he does. I wouldn't put anything past this motherfucker, to be honest. I wouldn't put anything past this motherfucker. I wouldn't put a thing past him. Less than 20 minutes, allegedly, until he's live. It's hard to say. It is hard to say. I guess we'll find out in about 19 minutes, huh? Oh, Jesus. I knew this was coming. I'm not exactly surprised by it. I mean, is anybody really surprised by it? We knew this was coming. For the $10, the USA has a law that allows them to invade The Hague if they put an American soldier on trial. I know. We don't respect international law. That's not even like a joke. We just do not respect the authority of the ICC. Do they still invade? We are, as we speak, we are currently invading Venezuela. We have troops on the ground creating a security perimeter. We are, as we speak, we are currently invading Venezuela. Source, the President of the United States of America. You think they'll attack Homeland? Probably, yeah. Probably. Hey, I just want all MAGA supporters to know that you can no longer pretend like this is the president of peace. You can no longer pretend like you don't support foreign wars. You are all warmongering fascists, and you shit in your hands and clap together when the United States violates international law to invade Venezuela, bomb their civilians, and illegally kidnap their fucking ruler. You are all fucking warmongering fascists, and I'm being so dead ass, you deserve less rights. Feel better? A little bit. Thank you for the money. What did that say? Thank you for the $10. I wonder how many people's died hungry in the cold last night. Yep. Yep. Thank you for the $5. What's stopping someone? Oh, Jesus Christ. I ain't reading that out loud. Fox has an interview with who? With who? With Trump over the phone? Let's see if we can find it.
And just look at the specific wording that the president uses in the planning.
No, this ain't it. Called on to Fox and Friends this morning, I'm sure. Someone said my pee is red with rage, bro. You gotta go to the hospital immediately.
Tell us about it.
It was slightly busy, I would say. It was very dark all over, especially in Venezuela. The team did an incredible job. They rehearsed and practiced like nobody's ever seen. And I was told by real military people that there's no other country on earth that can do such a maneuver. If you would have seen what happened, I mean, I watched it literally like I was watching a television show. And if you would have seen the speed, the violence, you know, they say that, the speed, the violence, they use that term. It's it was an amazing thing, an amazing job that these people did. There's nobody else could have done anything like it.
You're at Mar-a-Lago right now. How were you able to watch this?
Because Mar-a-Lago's the new White House.
Well, we watched it from a room. We had a room, and we watched it, and we watched every aspect of it. We were surrounded by lots of people, including generals, and they knew everything that was happening, and it was very complex.
I can't believe this motherfucker
Extremely
brings his
complex.
generals to goddamn Mar-a-Lago, bro. He brings his generals to fucking Mar-a-Lago. He's conducting war from Mar-a-fucking-Lago.
Extremely complex, the whole maneuver, the landings, the number of aircraft, which were a massive number, the number of helicopters,
yes, Luigi comes home
different
today.
type of helicopters, different type of fighter jets. We had a fighter jet for every possible situation. And they just broke in, and they broke into places that were not really able to be broke into, you know, with steel doors that were put there for just this reason, and they got taken out in a matter of seconds. I've never seen anything like it, actually.
And you were able to watch this in real time.
Yeah, and don't forget, I've done some pretty good ones in in other parts of the world. Okay, I've done some pretty good ones, but I've never seen anything like this. I was able to watch it in real time, and I watched every aspect of it, and I listened to the communication between, where we were in Florida and out in the field in Venezuela. And it was amazing to see the professionalism, the quality of
Somebody in chat
leadership.
said bringing out Maduro would be a violation of international law. This entire operation was a violation of international law. Bombing those boats was a violation of international law. Bombing Venezuelan mainland was a violation of international law. Kidnapping their president was a violation of international law. He doesn't respect international law.
Professionalism. General Raisin Kane is fantastic. Don't forget, we did another one not so long ago. It was called the knocking out of the Iranian nuclear threat, the nuclear power. And that was unbelievable what they did there. And this is something that, gee, I don't know, it's amazing. And to have...
Should Maduro have remained in power? I don't give a fuck. If they didn't want him in power, they should get him out on their fucking own. Why the fuck is the United States military bombing a foreign nation? Why the fuck are we participating in regime change in Venezuela? Why? Other than oil, other than minerals, other than natural gas deposits. This is all for Exxon fucking Mobil.
But no death on our side is really amazing.
Mr. President.
Unbelievable. They're going to be live in about 10 minutes. Thank you for the $100 donation for Luigi from me and my doggo, Princess Leia. Thank you, Princess Leia. Thank you, Aunt Kathy saves the day. Appreciate that. Appreciate that, guys. Guys, did I tell you how much Luigi's surgery was? Let me explain something to you. Luigi was suddenly paralyzed. Like that. Legs stopped working. They gave me two choices. Put her down or give her the surgery. $14,000. $14,000 fucking dollars to save my dog's ass. Dude, in this nation, if you're poor, your loved ones just die. Whether it's a human or a dog, bro. Your loved ones just die if you're poor. It's fucking crazy. I'm gonna go take a piss. Here.
Chief political anchor and host of Special Report. And Brett, you'll be anchoring in just 2.5 hours the live press conference coming from Mar-a-Lago. But it is interesting, as you heard Chad talking there, and we've been highlighting some of the political reaction. It does appear that a large number of Democrats are really just leaning in. And we highlighted a little earlier Senator Ruben Gallego of Arizona, Democrat, saying that second unjustified war of my life. This war is illegal. It's embarrassing that we went from the World Cup to the world bully in less than 1 year. There's no reason for us to be at war with Venezuela. And it goes on, you see there. But it's pretty clear that this isn't a declaration of war.
Yeah. Good morning again. I love Chad Pergram and a little bit of at war and not a little bit pregnant. He always has the great phrases. But I think that this is interesting, and this is going to be the subject of the 11 a.m. news conference. A lot of it. You'll get a lot of details about how long this operation was in effect and how much planning and how successful it was. But let's just boil this all down. There is a pending 2020 indictment of Maduro and his wife. wife in the Southern District of New York. And the Attorney General, Pam Bondi, says that is where they will face justice with a formal indictment process and a prosecution. And, you know, this operation, to Chad's point, very well said, tracks almost exactly the 37th anniversary of the operation to take out Manuel Noriega in Panama. That was December 20th, 1989. Very similar operation. He was convicted of drug and money laundering. There was an operation to take him. He eventually went to Miami. He faced prosecution, had 40 years in prison as a result of that prosecution. In that operation, there was a significant military force on the ground in Panama. There are legitimate questions, as I mentioned before, about...
All right, let's change the poll. Let's change the poll. There's your new poll. There's your new poll. Those are your options, by the way. And it's not really about the poll. These are your options in real life. You can either be a bootlicking, warmongering cuck for the United States Defense Department, or you can say no. That's it. It's that simple. Those are your two options. You either support foreign wars, regime change, and conquests for oil because you're a bootlicking cuck, or you can say, nah, I don't support this. It's very simple. Thank you for becoming a loyalist. I appreciate you. Can we agree that Maduro is bad? Yes, Maduro is bad. We still shouldn't be sending the United States military to capture him, bomb his nation, murder his civilians, and harvest their natural resources. Still shouldn't be doing that. All right. The press briefing has begun, or it's going to begin any second. They're making it look like we saved Venezuela. That's how the United States conducts coups d'etats. We did the same thing in Iraq. It was originally called Operation Iraqi Liberation. OIL. Do you think I'm kidding? The initial invasion of Iraq was called Operation Iraqi Liberation. We changed it to Operation Iraqi Freedom, but it was called OIL. Operation Iraqi Liberation. We pretended like we would be welcomed with kisses and roses. We were not. The initial invasion of Iraq was called Operation OIL. You guys know that, right? You guys are aware of that, right? No, it was OIL. We then changed it to OIF once we realized that the acronym spelled out oil, but yeah, it was literally called Operation OIL. By the way, if you're a young kid and you don't understand what's going on, this is the cycle that America repeats. It's a 5-step cycle. We designate a nation as a threat to democracy. It could be Iraq, Afghanistan, Venezuela, Chile. It doesn't matter. We label you as a threat to democracy. Step 2, we make your economy scream through sanctions, make the average person suffer. That way they stop supporting the government that they have. Step 3 is to fund and arm the opposition. We did this let's see, we did this in Iraq and Afghanistan with ISIS. We funded and armed ISIS. We funded and armed Al-Qaeda during the Soviet invasion of Afghanistan. We did the same thing in Venezuela. We armed the Colombian rebels who were willing to fight back. We funded Maria Corina Machado. What is it? Step 4 is to manufacture consent for military intervention. You need to grease up the American people into supporting, sending the American military to invade that nation. And then step 5 is military intervention. You are living through step 5 right now. We sent in the United States military. We are now going to regime change that nation, put in our own CIA puppet named Maria Corina Machado. This is exactly how the CIA does it. They're not even original. They follow the exact same blueprint. We have done this to every single nation in South America. This is the second time that we have done this to Venezuela. If you disagree with me, you're wrong and stupid. This is basic information. This is American history. You can research all of this. Granted, if you support Donald Trump, you're going to plug your ears and go, la, 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 la. None of this is real. None of that ever happened because you're actually an inferior subhuman class of vermin. But in the meantime, us here on the left who are always correct and have been screaming that this is going to happen for 8 months and you called us fearmongerers, we're just going to wait. We're just going to wait. And you'll all come crawling back in about 6 months and be like, wow, you were right. Holy shit. How did you know? Well, it's because we can read. It's very simple. I can read. So I knew this was happening. Pretty simple, really. You don't have to be a genius to know this stuff. You just have to not be mentally impaired like all Trump supporters. So is this the beginning of World War III? No, that's later on in the week, once we bomb Iran again. That's later on in the week. Probably on the 6th. Probably January 6th. In celebration of January 6th. The attempted insurrection in the Capitol. We'll probably bomb Iran on January 6th. Oh, and by the way, come back here when I'm right. When we bomb Iran, all Trump supporters will cheer and celebrate it because they love war. They all love war. Any Trump supporters in the chat? I know that none of you are brave, but pretend to be brave for a second and say me if you support Donald Trump. I know you're all fucking cowards and you come from a whore of a mother, but you can at least pretend to be brave for a second. So, Trump supporters, why do you love war? Exotic, why do you love war? When's this starting? It's supposed to start right now. You love war because of money. Okay. That's what I expected you to say. You should welcome Trump supporters to hear their opinions. No, I actually think Trump supporters are a subhuman class of vermin. I don't like to listen to them. I actually think that they should have less rights than me. Yeah, of course he's fucking late. He's always fucking late. He's always fucking late, this guy. You guys remember when they said that Donald Trump was a peaceful dove? Do you guys remember when they said that Donald Trump would end all foreign wars on day one? Do you guys remember when they said that Donald Trump was going to usher in a new era of peace? Do you guys remember when they said that Donald Trump ended 8 wars? Do you guys remember that? So wait, I do know that there's a couple of MAGA supporters in the chat. Could one of you be brave and say me real quick so I can ask you a direct question? Just, pretend to be brave and say you support Donald Trump, and then I'll address you directly. G. Moore is a Trump supporter. So, G. Moore, why do you love war? G. Moore, why do you love war? It will make the U.S. economy strong again. So you support foreign wars and regime change because it'll make the economy better? You support foreign wars and regime change because it'll make the economy better? Not really. I'm just trolling. Good. Thank God. Can one of the Trump supporters who's not trolling pretend to be brave for a second? Forego the fact that your mother is a whore and your father is a coward and admit that you support Trump real quick? Any of you? Is there a single one of you who can pretend to be brave for a second? Or are you all just, silently complicit? Not one of you? Not one of you? Ask away, bucko. Oh. Buttery Papa, can you name one of the 8 wars that Trump ended? Buttery Papa, can you name one of the 8 wars that Trump ended? FaZe Clan versus Optic Gaming. Fair enough. Fair enough, fair enough. Abidjan in Albania. Abidjan is not a nation. That's not a real place, you inferior moron. So again, I ask, could one Trump supporter please tell me a war that Trump ended? Jeremy Sagan, could you please tell me one of the 8 wars that Trump ended? Did you just say Azerbaijan isn't real? No, I said that, what nation did he say? Abidjan. He said Abidjan. I said, you see, the chatter said Abidjan. That's not a place. So could Trump supporters please tell me one war that Trump ended? I would love to know. Any of them? I didn't end any of them. Yeah, he's very late. Check out the AP stream.
Specifically outside on the lawn.
Jonathan.
Yep.
You're in the shot.
Uh-huh.
They're live on Fox right now.
Okay. Thank you.
Yemen, Somalia, Iran, Venezuela, Syria, Nigeria. That's 6. No, those are all places he bombed. He didn't end any wars in those nations. Donald Trump bombed Yemen. Donald Trump bombed Somalia. Donald Trump bombed Iran. Donald Trump bombed Venezuela. Donald Trump bombed Syria. And Donald Trump bombed Nigeria. He didn't end any wars.
Yeah, it's in it. Right now we're on the wide shot just because everyone's taking it live.
This is okay.
That's what I meant. Good boy.
Just watch your left foot.
Left foot? Left foot.
Sorry, I voted for the Orange Man in 2015. Did you vote for him again? Or did you only vote for him the once?
What's everybody doing?
I can't believe they got us in this quickly. Yeah. The hotel took
I know,
here
it was such
and
a-
we're
I was
all
not
set
expecting
up.
it.
I thought this was going to take hours.
Wedge. 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 You know what you're doing? Do you know what you're doing?
Sir, sir. If you
Do you know what you're doing?
stay half step back. Those are really wide angle lenses, and you'll if the two of you move forward, you'll be in the shot as the ma'am in the white also. The farther y'all press forward, the more you're going to be in these shots. They're super wide angle.
Somebody ban the religious zealot. I fucking hate religious zealots. Get rid of them.
Nothing for Alex.
It's for Alex, we kick it over.
Alex, we're actually waiting for you to get up there.
Oh, no, 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 no. Oh, no, 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 no. Speech back.
Right, so you're still in there for the walk-up? Yeah. And then I'm going to push in.
Okay.
Username was Veronica. Thank you for the $20. Appreciate that.
24 to 70.
I'm gonna fill up my cup of coffee before the fat Führer comes bumbling out. Oh, lordy, lordy, lordy.
Peter, how do you feel about that?
I'm fine with that.
Thank you for the $20. I appreciate that. If only somebody could have warned us. Thank you for the gifted membership, Brody. Appreciate you. If only somebody could have told us that this was going to happen. If only we got like a little bit of coverage from people who were like reading the writing on the walls, who were capable of saying, it looks like we're going to do regime change in Venezuela. I wish I got my video out earlier, man. It's a damn shame. Let me show you something. I made this shit the other day. I thought I had more time. This is a script to a video that I made that I haven't finished editing yet. South America is a beautiful continent, home to many different cultures and people. However, there is one common trend that's all South American nations share: coup d'etats. Hi, I'm Chris Valenti, and this is Valentified History. Overthrowing governments, or as we call it in America, delivering democracy. You see, I'm out of my depth here, so for today's episode of Valentified History, I contacted an expert in CIA coups. Take it away, sir. In walks me in a blazer. So, you want to take over a South American nation? Well, you've come to the right place. My name is Agent Valenti, and this is Coup d'etat 101. Rookies, here at the CIA, we have perfected the art of taking over sovereign nations. We got a dono here, $10. Venezuela's opposition leader calls for Gonzalez to replace Maduro's Venezuelan Machado has issued her first public statement. Yeah, I believe it. All right. Talented Americans like you have taken down Argentina, Bolivia, Brazil, Chile, Cuba, the Dominican Republic, Ecuador, Guatemala, Haiti, Mexico, Nicaragua, Panama, and Venezuela. With each coup, we've learned more, and as agents, this will always be relevant. In fact, I hear the brass needs to re-coup Venezuela again. Easy enough. Take notes. I wrote this shit 3 weeks ago. These are the 5 steps to conducting a coup. Step 1. Locate a nation to become our threat to democracy. Classically, these are nations that have nationalized their oil reserves. An example, in the early 2000s, we found out that Hugo Chavez, the former president of Venezuela, had nationalized the oil refineries around the nation. He used the revenue from the oil to create the Bolivarian missions, social programs designed to expand access to food, healthcare, housing, and education. That is a threat to our oligarchs here at home, and anything that inches close to communism means less money for Uncle Sam. Of course, not every nation has oil. That's okay. We can check to see if they've nationalized their nation's #1 export. In 1954, Guatemala nationalized the land owned by the United Fruit Company. Sure, it was good for them, but it made the fruit market in America 2% more expensive, and we can't have that. Even easier, if the nation elects an out-and-about socialist like Chile did with Salvador Allende in the 70s, then we can go ahead and label the entire nation as an existential threat to the Western Hemisphere. It's time for a real-world exercise to locate a threat to democracy. I hear the pot is about to boil over in Venezuela. Recruits, let's think about ways that you could label Venezuela as a threat to democracy. As an exercise, of course. Our last coup attempt in Venezuela failed in 2019, but we don't let a good coup go to waste. A tried and true strategy? We can point to our installed leader, Juan Guaido, and claim that he is the rightful president of Venezuela. That labels Nicolas Maduro as an illegitimate leader, an easy way to convince the American public that the country is a cartel. What else? I mean, we could claim that fentanyl is a weapon of mass destruction. It is prudent that we reuse our previous steps. It's good to tie it to a modern fear. The opioid epidemic seems like a good start. Now remember that this is just an exercise, and I encourage you to be more creative than that. This will take us to step 2. Enforce freedom through sanctions. You got to set the stage for your coup. And that means the nation you're coupping must be suffering. So help them suffer with sanctions. A sanction is just a fancy word for threats and punishment. In the 70s, Nixon and Kissinger came up with the idea of crippling the Chilean economy. Their exact words were, "Make the economy scream." So we cut aid to Chile. We pressured the world banks to refuse loans to the Chilean people. We blocked them from international financing. You see, in Chile, they elected a socialist, like I told you earlier, and look what he did to his people. His socialist agenda was a threat to democracy, so he was couped. Now, hypothetically, if you wanted to make Venezuela's economy scream, you would put sanctions on their oil industry. They have become far too reliant on it. A tried and true method is to claim that the nation is selling oil to one of our adversaries, powering their war machine. I'd recommend using the chief villains that we have convinced the public into fearing the most: Iran, Russia, China. Once their economy begins to scream, we can move into phase 3. Phase 3, funding the opposition. You see, it's not just about destroying the current leadership of the nation. You also need to replace it with one of our own. Thank you for the $10. Now, that is going to need some support from the locals. Back in the 70s in Chile, we here at the CIA created a media company called El Mercurio and used them to pump out anti-socialist sentiment day and night. Slowly, we began to turn the Chilean people against themselves. Divide and conquer, agents. In Bolivia, back in the 60s, we armed and trained rebel groups that were willing to fight in the streets against their socialist leadership. Are you starting to get the picture? It's very important that you set the stage. The American people must believe that the opposition is actually the saviors of the nation and that they'll establish a good relationship with the United States. Hypothetically speaking, it would be incredibly beneficial for you to find an opposition leader that is good on camera. The opposition must seem welcoming, peaceful, and most importantly, pro-America. Once you have a good reputation established for this opposition, you can move into step 4. Ban cowpoke. You fucking anti-Semitic piece of shit. Thanks for your $5, you fucking anti-Semite. Suck my dick, your mother's a whore. Step 4. Manufacture consent. Americans are not going to support an offensive war unless you convince them that it's actually defensive. As discussed earlier, you have labeled the nation as a threat to democracy. Call upon the media to begin repeating words such as dictator, illegitimate government, regime, narco, terrorist. The American people must be convinced of one thing: supporting the war is pro-American. In the early 2000s, when we here at the CIA were manufacturing consent for the invasion of Iraq and Afghanistan, we took a gamble. We told the American public that Saddam has weapons of mass destruction. Now, of course, we all know the truth always comes out. You need to think of this manufactured consent as if it's a ticking time bomb. When the people find out that there are no WMDs, the window of opportunity for your coup has closed. Assuming that you've already manufactured enough consent, it is time for the final step. Step 5, military intervention. You've convinced the American people that the nation is a threat to democracy. You've made their economy scream. You've prepared the opposition for the takeover, and you've manufactured enough consent for American military intervention. Start with things that don't put American soldiers at risk. Airstrikes, covert CIA teams for assassination of key leadership. Make sure the introduction to this war is victory after victory. The American people must think that it will be an absolute cakewalk. At this point, you are now running on borrowed time. It is inevitable that the American public will start to oppose the war, which is why you have to act with a sense of urgency. Come up with a timeline, something like a 100-hour plan to take over the government. The less American boots on the ground, the better. And always remember that if things don't work out your way, just make the lie bigger. Instead of claiming that they are a threat to democracy, claim that they are a threat to the Western Hemisphere. Make them the boogeyman. If you follow this blueprint, you should be able to take over any nation on Earth, especially the ones in South America. Okay, I gotta get back to Langley. We're prepping an operation in Syria. Well, that was quite informative. Could make for a good holiday, I guess. Anyway, if you like this video, make sure to hit that thumbs up, bomb that subscribe button, and coo that notification bell. See you next time. So that's the script for the video that I already filmed like last week, and it is ready to go up. Just needs a couple more edits. But if I got this up yesterday, boy oh boy would it have done numbers. Boy oh boy would it have fucking done numbers. I can't believe that fucking anti-Semite gave me their money before I fucking banned them. Oh. Let me end that poll so it doesn't clog the feed. He's now half an hour late. Nope, Tangerine Palpatine has not spoken yet. Dad rolling in his grave right now? Yeah, dude. Dude, it's moments like this that make me grateful that Dad is dead, bro. You understand that the way Dad would be fucking tweaking out at the fact that we're starting another foreign jungle war for Exxon fucking Mobil? If you don't know, my dad served in Vietnam, so this is just Vietnam 2 electric fucking boogaloo. Matt, I'm not clicking that link. I'm busy. I'm not clicking that link. What would happen if he appears with Maduro? Nothing would happen. Donald Trump is a dictator. So there's no consequences. He can't do anything. You can't hold him accountable for anything. The Supreme Court ruled that there is no crime that the President of the United States can commit that he will be held responsible for. Donald Trump can legally shoot you in the fucking head. There's nothing that you can do. This is real. The Supreme Court ruled that. Thank you for the $10. I appreciate that. Yeah, we seriously did. We bombed Venezuela and we captured Maduro. He just posted a photo of Maduro. Oh my God. Oh my fucking God. Oh my fucking God. I told you. Did I not tell you he would do this? I thought they'd take him out during the press conference. So I won the poll, right? My guess was correct. My guess was correct, right? I told you not to put anything past this motherfucker. I told you. I told you not to put anything past this motherfucker. Who posts this shit? Our dictator. Your dad was in Vietnam. How old are you? I'm 28. What do you mean it's not adding up? What do you mean? I'm 28. My dad served in the Vietnam War. What about that doesn't fucking add up? Where's his wife? Who knows? Who knows? He was a dictator. He needed to be removed. So what about him being a dictator meant that the United States military needed to bomb the Venezuelan mainland, move in, and capture their fucking leader? What about Venezuela's problems means that the United States of America needs to fucking get involved? I don't give a shit if he's a fucking dictator. That's the Venezuelans' problem, not fucking mine.
With no lens? Yeah. You're not going to pay him?
I will, but not right now. Not until he's...
You call Trump a dictator, yet call for communism? You don't know what capitalism is, let alone communism. You're a pro-capitalist cuck and you have no fucking capital. I bet you make $30,000 a year and you clap like a seal for Elon Musk's tax breaks. You inferior fucking roach.
Yeah, I mean, that's fine. That's fine.
He said you'd have to be at least 41 to have a Vietnam dad. You're brain dead. You're literally fucking brain dead. Jesus Christ, you're so stupid. Did he actually say that? Wait, did he actually say that? Did he actually say that? You know how fucking stupid you have to be? Holy shit. What age did your dad serve? He was 18. I was just making a joke. Oh, thank God. He's now half an hour late. Well, my dad was 17 when they shipped him to Vietnam. On his 18th birthday, he landed in Vietnam. He enlisted. He volunteered. He wasn't drafted. My dad volunteered when he was 17 because they told him he was too young to go to Vietnam. Then on his 18th birthday, they shipped him off. Guys, my dad was born in 1948. Why are you asking ChatGPT if it's possible for someone who's 28 years old to have a father who fought in the Vietnam War? My dad was born in 1948. He's older than fucking Israel. My father, who's dead, would be older than Israel right now if he were alive. So he isn't older than Israel? Yes, because of the month.
6'2", all I get is a bald head.
Can you be 6'2"?
No.
If I'm on my butt, I can't see over their heads.
You never remote.
Sam, look up.
Can't see over whose head.
One of my job clients is stuck in Puerto Rico because of the bombing. Yeah, I believe it. If we can't vote our way out of this, what are your predictions for the midterms? No, we're going to win the midterms. It's going to be a blue nami, but there's not going to be a presidential election in 2028. They're going to cancel the election entirely. Why do you say dumb shit like they're not going to have an election? Because this fascist regime does not respect the Constitution, and they will not allow the American people to give them a referendum. They no longer believe in democracy. They believe in a, tech oligarchy, a technocracy. Tech feudalism. Where's Pops? Get me a Ouija board. I'll contact him for you. Come on, you fat fuck. Come out and tell us how you bombed him. Yo, check this out if you just got here. Trump posted this. There's Nicolas Maduro. There he is. Thank you for the $10. Thank you for the $5. I appreciate you. There he is. You know, the same guys that the United States had no chance of pulling this off. Never once did I say that the United States had no chance of pulling this off. What I did say is that Venezuela has 4 million militiamen. I hope you don't think this is the end of this, you fucking brain-dead troglodyte. We just captured their president. Our soldiers aren't fucking leaving. We're installing a pro-America fucking CIA puppet named Maria Corina Machado. We're going to create an American oil harvesting group in there. What the fuck do you think is gonna happen? You think this is over, you fucking morons? Oh my god, dude. The CIA has won, bro. The average American voter is so fucking stupid. It's unbelievable. Oh my, Chatter, the Venezuelan people seem happy. You're literally falling for CIA propaganda. Oh my fucking god. Yeah, dude, and the Cubans celebrated when Castro died. Oh my fucking God, bro. We're so cooked. We're so cooked. We're so fucking cooked, you dumb bastards. You just spoon-feed CIA propaganda and you feast on it. You fucking donkeys. You literal fucking donkeys. Jesus Christ.
Okay, thank you very much. This
There we
is
go.
Big Duff. We appreciate you being here. Late last night and early today, at my direction, the United States Armed Forces conducted an extraordinary military operation in the capital of Venezuela. Overwhelming American military power, air, land, and sea, was used to launch a spectacular assault.
MAGA fucks, our boys are staying because we're gonna run the country and you think they're not gonna have to fight? You fucking troglodytes?
Here is right now a much safer place to be. So I want to thank everybody for being here. I want to thank General Raisin Kane. He's a fantastic man. I've worked with a lot of generals. I worked with some I didn't like. I worked with some I didn't respect. I worked with some that just weren't good. But this guy is fantastic. I watched last night one of the most precise attacks on sovereignty. I mean, it was an attack for justice.
You just said it was an attack on sovereignty. He just said it was one of the best attacks on sovereignty ever. Holy fucking Freudian slip.
Thank you very much.
Mr. President, can you explain how the U.S. will run Venezuela?
Here comes the alcoholic
Thank you, Mr. President.
war criminal.
Commander-in-Chief, the world respects and the American people deserve. And as the President said, words can
time and the place of our choosing against any foe anywhere in the world. I am immensely proud today of our joint force and filled with gratitude to represent them here today. There is simply no mission.
There's your fucking news. You'll get more of it later. I gotta go pick up my fucking dog from the hospital. All right. You'll get more of this later, but for now, that's all I got for you. We're at war with Venezuela. Unfucking believable. Unfucking believable. All right, guys. I gotta go. Thank you very much. I gotta go. I gotta go pick her up. Thank you very much for tuning into the Valenti broadcast. We're at war with Venezuela. I'm always right. If you support the war in Venezuela, you are inferior, subhuman, and a vermin. You hate the American people. You hate our United States military. You want our boys to go fight and die in a foreign jungle to harvest oil. I wish you the fucking worst. Please stop considering yourself to be an American. You're not a fucking American. You're a traitor to the United States of America, and you will be treated as such. Hopefully, in the future, we can publicize the voting records and start branding MAGA voters so that we know who they are and we can use them as slave labor in the future. Okay. Thank you very much for tuning into the Valenti broadcast, and understand, neoliberalism will not save you. The alt-left will save you. Have a good one, guys. I'll catch you. Bye-bye.